All right, all right, guys. I'm going to be jumping to the. I'm going to play the theme music. Couldn't think of the name of it. I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. There you go. I was on the wrong scene. Okay, I'm going to play the theme music. Let's try that again. If you hear me introducing the show, just ignore me. I want to play the cool music that you... No, I mean, I'm going to play it, the music that you stole. Hang on one second. And Doomsday Doopy Doo is live on Twitch with theme music, live from the bunker. And I'm going to bring my good friends over here. Let's do a little transition. Hey, can you guys see me and hear me? All right. I think we are live. I have green lights. This is exactly quarantine edition. I'm in the bunker. Everyone's in their own respective bunkers, and we're all remote. And we have a new head has joined the game, as you can see, and and that is Josh. Josh has joined us. Was Josh supposed to be a surprise? Was I supposed to pop his video in like late, at the appropriate time, Chris? Fuck. That's probably if we would have. That would have been a cool reveal. Hi, I hear you, Nick. Still can't hear Chris. Okay, wait a minute. Can't hear Chris. All right, wait. I'm gonna try that. How about when? Thank you, Mark. How about? Okay, wait. So can we hear Josh? Josh, say something. Okay. Okay, yeah, you are chopping a little bit, Josh. But how about that? Did you hear that, Mark? Oops. Can barely hear. All right, wait.
That's stupid.
Okay,
This
wait.
surefire way to be confused. This surefire way to be
confused
confused as hell as to what's going on. 1 2 1 2 main mix, main mix out main mix.
Okay, I think he said he hears
Everybody
Chris
hears
now.
me here, right, on Skype.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I think that was my bad. I was monitoring.
You were monitoring, dude. There was a crazy delay. You had a crazy delay going on.
Okay.
Like a crazy delay.
Well, I was monitoring and not
okay
outputting.
Now?
I hear everybody. You guys hear me?
We hear you.
Okay. So now wait. We got to wait to see if Mark hears all three of us. We're going to wait on you, Mark. Mark is our... He hears everyone. Yes!
Yes. Huzzah!
Huzzah! All right. Anyway, the secret's out. Josh is here. Salud! Cheers.
Josh is...
Chentan.
So should we... I mean, Josh has been kind of there from the beginning. He's been a friend of the show. I'm going to call him friend of the show. I don't believe in fan. I'm like, fans. It makes me uncomfortable.
No,
he's a friend of the show. Like Mark is a...
These guys are our friends. I mean, they've been with us for way too long.
Yes.
Besides these three guys, and maybe Longshot and Mike, everyone else is fans.
Yeah, you guys are just fans. So step up.
Really?
Step your game up, dog.
Get involved with the show.
I like that. I like that. Friend of the show. I think it's better than fan. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
like a secret organization of some sort.
no, because we hung out. Like I hung out with you and Mark like so many times, just watched movies. Like we were just buddies. Like I don't even feel like that. So
Well, more
I just
than me,
had a good
even.
time. Like-minded people.
I'm jealous.
Yeah,
actually.
more. I probably hung out with you guys more.
Definitely.
Nick. Yes.
But anyway,
Very sad. Yeah. Very sad.
So,
I
Mark,
want to hang out with
I've
Nick.
seen you guys share a bunker. Okay? I've seen you guys share. We cannot share bunkers here where I come from.
No,
There's no sharing of bunkers.
Why not?
Well, you see where we are now, so.
Oh, we're complete lockdown over here. We're not even allowed to have Christmas anymore.
Oh,
sorry, the holidays.
Canceled,
we're not
they
allowed
canceled.
to have the holidays
They canceled Christmas.
I think Murphy's going to cancel soon.
And the Quebecers, I don't know if you know Quebecers very much, but they're pretty fed up.
Oh, they are?
Is that the official term for people from Quebec? Is Quebecers?
Yeah, the Anglophone term for sure. Yeah, you call them Quebecers.
Quebecers. I like the ring of that Quebecer.
I'm kind of a francophone Anglophone in Quebec too, so I might be saying it wrong. They might, like hardcore Quebecois, might look at me and say, "You don't say Quebecer."
Right,
Quebecois, huh?
Right, I could be completely wrong. So even with my own province, I could be wrong.
Right.
I love the one thing I love about Josh being here is we're now 33.3333% more international now.
That's true.
That's true. That's very true.
That is true.
We're diverse.
We're diversified now. This is good stuff.
And if you guys want to know anything about Canada, it'd be my pleasure. We hunt the elk.
Oh, there you go.
We drink maple syrup like it's water.
Do you go hunting at all, Josh?
Oh, I mean, I step out of my door and there's beaver, elk, caribou, all sorts of wildlife.
But do you shoot? Do you shoot any of them or no? All right, well,
no, I don't hunt. I don't hunt myself. I have a lot of hunters in my family, but I myself am not a sports shooter. I'd love to get into the sport someday if I had the money to do so, but it's kind of the people that around here who are into that, they're closed groups. They're friends, they're family, they're people who've known each other for a long time. And to get into those kinds of sports for the first time, you need a bit of cash. So it's not something like sports shooting. I wouldn't go into that without a penny in my pocket. You want to go into there with enough money for the licenses, for the restrictions that are involved. Like there's no way to carry a firearm in these parts without having a specific license. It's got to be in a specific type of case in your vehicle's trunk. You're only able to carry it from this place to this place. The rules are extremely restrictive. So
it sounds a little bit like Jersey.
Like the shooting sport. It's kind of, I think it is a lot like Jersey, actually. Jersey has pretty restrictive rules,
they do.
To the point where it's hobbyists who are into it mostly. Like the legal firearms, they're really in the hands of hunters and hobbyists.
Right.
Sports shooters and stuff like that, right? So if you have the money to get into that, great, but
well, I have to say over here, I've heard that it's a little more expensive in Canada because here it's a little. I think it's cheaper. I mean, if you have $200 or even $150 for like a used shotgun, I think the application.
Oh yeah, shotguns here are not that cheap. No, like
Canada's expensive to shoot.
A Mossberg around here would probably cost me like $400, $500.
Holy!
The license would cost me like. The licensing itself would cost me around $400 or $500, and then $200 a year. Yeah. It's not cheap. That's just like a Mossberg shotgun, like a nothing fancy.
That's a good shotgun, though. But
by the way, I have to do a quick shout out to our number one fan, G Mark. He's our number one fan. Well, he told me to say that he's his number one fan, but he is because one, he paints and listens to the show in his yard, which I thought was.
Well, I want to know. I was going to ask if Mark did the recap song.
Yeah, Mark, did you do the recap song?
If he's a big fan as he says he is, there should be a recap song.
Where's the recap song, Mark? Nick makes a great point.
Yeah, I mean, really. Is he?
He's not even. He's not answering. That should be in my inbox right now. Actually, should be in my inbox right now.
Anyway,
like ready to go. And the other thing I wanted to say was Joe referred to where he's from as Josh referred to where he's from as.
Oh man, he's gonna kick your ass now.
I know. This shit. Am I Shadow? Am I Chris? Who the fuck am I? I don't even know.
Pete, I'm going to be calling him Pete for the next year or so until
Pete.
it really drops.
You can find me online under that persona all day long.
Me in quotes. Like, I don't know what to do with that. But Josh has referred to where he lives in Canada as the New Jersey of Canada a few times, which made me laugh in the early days when we were just talking.
It's funny because Ottawa likes to pretend like it's a big city. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
But the big city in Ontario is Toronto.
Right. Sure.
Ottawa is about 6 hours away from Toronto, and it's a fraction of the size of Toronto. But Ottawa likes to pretend like it's a big city. They have big city bars, big city politicians. And right across the river is Newark, or what we call Gatineau.
Yeah.
Okay. and Gatineau, it's a lot of working class people. It's a lot more dingy. It's a lot more rustic. We have train tracks. There's a clear right side of the tracks and a wrong side of the tracks. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And you've lived long enough in Gatineau. There's a clear difference between Gatineau culture and Ottawa culture. And I feel like it's a lot like New York, New Jersey. I've been there a few times myself. I'm not an expert on it, obviously, but I know people from New Jersey are very
smart.
Large
penis.
Handsome.
Yep.
Everyone in New Jersey has a huge hog. They're
huge.
Gigantic. I'm just telling you.
Huge.
Gigantic.
That's the rumors. That's the rumors.
Yeah.
Just a rumor. I don't.
You have to unfold.
It's all the well water we drink.
Well, yeah. But the water is cold and deep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Maybe Down to Earth was not the.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. No, we're joking, obviously.
Oh, Down to Earth. I just got
I think
that.
we.
Wow. I'm a little slow.
That's
anyway, I'm excited.
You're actually literally slow, Nick, because I think you're on delay, like by about half a second still.
All of us are delaying. Like we're kind of jumping around. I'm hoping that the stream is okay, but it is what it is. These are unprecedented times, as they say. If I hear that again, I'm going to shoot myself. But we all have to be separate, and this is like the 8th time I changed the setup.
The recap in the chat.
And Mark left. Mark's like, screw this crap.
No, he's here. He ran away because I think he's getting his guitar to do this song.
You know, it'd be hilarious if he just ran to go get.
Can we bring him in to
go? Is there audio in the chat? That would have been great. Oh, he's there. Okay, good, Mark. I'm glad you're there. So who's gonna do the recap then? Being that Mark didn't do it.
I guess
I'll do me. I'm not even in the game yet.
You're not even in the game yet. No, you're disqualified from this one. The next one maybe.
That'd be me.
All right, so go ahead.
All right, so
where are we? For those just joining us for the first time.
Oh shit!
What the freak? For those joining us for the first time, let me talk to that camera because I'm all screwed up over here. For those joining us for the first time, this is Doomsday Doopy Doo. We were 2 idiots in a bunker playing games while we were waiting for the world, and now we're 3 idiots on Skype.
3.
So, and we're playing Gamma World. Apropos to nothing, maybe, or maybe apropos to something, and I'm looking at 2 cameras, but that's where we are. So what Chris is about to do, who is our game master, he's the guy making the funny faces and drinking out of that invisible glass. That guy up there is going to give us the recap of where we are in our Gamma World adventure. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So previously on Gamma World, Micho arrived at Hemingway's Holdfast, and it was an unsettling place in a weird way. There was a lack of any kind of comfort, while it was filled with creature comforts. He continued rebonding with his old friend Gloom, and talked to the Elephant Man Batu, who gave him some equipment and also a map with some directions to a city called Edgewater, where they could catch a boat and hopefully find their way back to the Citadel. The team, the friends, left the left the site. I won't say reluctantly, but quickly, and headed off into the wastelands, where shortly thereafter they ran across. Well, while camping, they saw a mysterious figure walking across the desert sands, the red desert sands, towards them. And I think that's where we left our friends off. Did I miss anything? Mark? Micho once. Oh yeah, and then they also discovered that the severed head of Gears was in the box. There were some switches that were played with.
Well, people don't know who Gears is.
Show some control over Gears.
But for anyone who hasn't been following
Gears, he's not your arch nemesis, is he?
No. I was trying to save my family and some strangers from slavery, and he blew us all up. But then he kind of got his just desserts, and my girlfriend put his head in a box with a bunch of buttons that we played with.
Yep.
And Mark says sounds about right, and I think that's kind of where we are. Did you say that there was someone approaching the tent?
So she's your girlfriend now, huh?
Well, I think
there was someone approaching.
I mean, I tongued her down. What, Chris?
Yeah, well, I guess that's consent.
I mean, I think she liked it.
That's like going to Micho. That's like going steady. I mean, she gave him a severed head of like an evil person. So
yes, it's post-apocalyptic third base right there.
It's intense. Yeah, that's an intense relationship right there.
All right, then.
All right. Did you say that someone's approaching the tent or not?
Yeah, so we were in the tent having tea and bullshitting, and across the desert you see this figure approaching the tent. You can see the heat rising off the red sand in the heat of the day, and this person is walking across the desert, and as he approaches you, you can see this faint shimmering around him, almost like an aura. But
wait, am I in a tent or not?
We're under the covering that we set up for the day, right?
Okay, so it's open on both sides.
On every side, yes, yeah.
Okay, so it's
yeah.
Okay.
It's like a tarp, yeah. There's a pole. There's several poles in the middle and some ropes that stretch out and to provide some cover in the heat of the day.
Okay, so that's how I'm able to see him.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Gotcha.
And like I said, you can see through the heat, the waves of heat rising off the desert, but around him you see this shapeless shimmering. It's faint, but as he gets closer, you can see it a little bit better, like these little specks of light almost around him, kind of encompassing his body, almost like an aura around him.
Okay.
I would say he is probably about maybe 100 feet away from you now.
Okay. I take my pistol out, and hold it, and I turn to Gloom and I ask him, I think, Gloom, you see this guy?
You turn around and there's nobody there.
Ah, fucking Gloom, man. How the hell does he hide in the middle? I stick my head out the tent and I start looking for Gloom.
All right, make a spot check. Tell me what you roll.
Sorry, we're on the honor system with our rolls. Okay,
yeah, we're on the honor. Yeah.
I rolled an 8 with a 7. That's a 15. Yes, that's 15.
You don't see him anywhere.
I don't see him.
You don't see him anywhere.
Shifty bastard. Okay, so I'm just gonna stand there and with my... I'm not gonna be overly confrontational or overly, but I mean, I'm not going to not have a pistol in my hand. So I'm just going to watch. I know that Gloom is somewhere watching. So I'm just going to, you know what? I put my pistol back in my holster. Because now that I know that Gloom is...
So you holster your pistol.
Gloom is covering this guy from somewhere. So I'm going to play it cool.
Okay.
Cool hand Luke.
So you're holster your pistol. What do you do specifically?
I just watch it. He's approaching. He's just walking towards me, this guy?
Yes.
Okay. So I just watch him walk towards me. I want to see where he's going. I mean, maybe, you know.
Okay. Well, as I get to 50 feet away, I call out.
Okay, what do you say?
Hello there. Is this your tent?
I point at my tent.
And
This
I
one,
sort of wave my arm.
this one here,
Yes, it's a beautiful tent.
Is
this yours?
The one I'm standing next to?
That's right, sir. May I approach?
Sure, certainly. Come on over.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I say sure. Come on.
So, come here. So, take a couple of minutes to describe before you do anything else, Josh. Take a couple of minutes to describe how your character looks as you're approaching the tent. So he gets within 25 feet. You get a really good look at him, and this is what he looks like.
Okay. So the best way I would describe him is he's scrawnier than most. He's a male, average age, average height. But you would say he's scrawnier than most that you've seen up to this point. You don't see much that gives away signs of his age, except like a meager sandpaper beard. So that obviously makes him a lot older than just a child. He's clearly not a child. And he's got like a bald spate with a very small amount of hair kind of growing on top. He's covered in dirt over his face. He's wearing what looks like military-grade equipment, probably emergency equipment of some type. He's wearing knee pads, like a solid, almost plastic-looking chest piece. Like he's wearing almost military-grade looking emergency equipment.
Like
that's
fatigues,
covered in
like lots of pockets and
pockets,
some kind of camouflage.
And he's covered in dirt, right? As he approaches, he's also wearing orange sort of goggles around his eyes. And as he gets closer, he removes these goggles to get a good clear look at you. And you see like all around his eyes, it's completely white underneath. And it's just caked dust all across his face. As he does so, you see some of the dust almost kind of disappear as well, almost like it's being chemically removed from his skin. So, like, as you're looking at him, the more you look at him, the more he seems to be getting cleaner and cleaner. So there seems to be something odd working around his skin that's making him look more presentable as you're even looking at him.
No, can I ascertain as...
And with his kind of beady eyes, he looks at your table and says, "Is that tea?" And you can see his lips, they're terribly parched, his face. Like, he looks like he hasn't drank anything in days.
Okay. Now, when you said his this stuff was kind of like coming off of him, is this something that is obviously not something like wind? Like, do I witness it and go, oh, shit, there's something happening here? Or is it just that he's getting cleaner and I can mistake it for something else? It's artificial looking. All right, so
there's like a symmetry. There's like a symmetry there that is it's a very apparent that there's a symmetry there, almost like you see it clean him in like this very linear way, like it's not like it just blew off of him, right? It's almost like somebody drug a squeegee across him and just cleaned it like instantly, right?
Okay. All right.
And the more I talk to you, the more my features become presentable and more softened to the exterior looking, to the eyes looking from on the exterior.
I look over, like I check his hands. Like I look at his hands. I want to make sure that this guy isn't. I'm letting you approach, but
I got a what looks like a mace at one hip. It's tied to my hip, but my hands are empty. I don't have a gun or anything like that in either hands.
Okay.
I have like a very obvious, like a kind of a cudgel to one, like strapped to a thigh at easy reach. But you don't see any kind of pistol or laser gun or anything like that.
Okay.
Another thing that you notice, since you're looking up and down now,
yeah, I want to check you out as you approach, for sure.
So I'm also wearing fingerless gloves. They look like they're made of latex. You don't really kind of see the utility in that, but they're covering parts of his hands. On his lower shoulder, on the left arm, he's got a tattoo. The tattoo has spoken language on it, but I don't know if you speak that language.
Okay, probably
so
not.
if you were to speak, I don't know, you'd have to ask the DM, but there's a language on the tattoo. Like clearly, there's some writing over a kind of octagonal shaped symbol.
Okay. So,
that's for you, Chris. I don't know how you deal with languages in this.
Well, and Micho doesn't really read well. We know he reads at about first grade, so it would depend on what your tattoo says. So probably not.
It just says gobbledygook. Yeah, it just says gobbledygook.
Okay.
Before you, excuse me, sir, before you approach any closer, I have to ask. I noticed first of all that you were dirty, and then something. What you started to clean? What magic is this?
Oh, don't be alarmed, please. It's just my grooming nanotech. It helps to keep me presentable.
Oh,
it's nothing but a little device that I carry with me.
Can I see this device?
What reason would you have to see my grooming kit?
Well, you just told me that.
Do you not clip your toenails?
Yes. No. Yes. Yes, from time to time. I should probably do it more often than I do, but you said that that's what it was. So if that's what it was, then you should be able to show it to me.
I see. You've never seen.
No.
Oh, you've never seen it? Okay.
No.
Well, here. And I pull out my grooming nanotech, which is basically a ball of light that comes out of my pocket.
Cold.
And the ball is like a shimmering ball about this big.
Uh-huh.
And I hold it in my hand. And I show it to you. This collection of robots here keeps me clean and tidy.
Is this dangerous?
It's personal to me.
Is it dangerous? No? Sorry, there's a delay.
I mean, a razor in the wrong hands could be dangerous, but no more so than your normal grooming kit.
Okay.
Do you want to see it?
Well,
I kind of extend my hand, and I let the nano go from my hand over to him.
Okay. This ball of light kind of pours into your hand like liquid metal almost, but it doesn't burn you, and it floats in the palm of your hand. This now a gold little ball, and you're standing there in front of him now with your hand open and this little gold ball. Like, think of the snitch from Harry Potter, right, floating in the middle of your hand. It's solid, but when you look at it, you can see that it's flexing, like it's made of millions of little pieces and thousands of little pieces in there, kind of floating right above your palm, weightless.
Okay. I stare at this thing in amazement for a bit, and so these this thing cleans you?
Yes, it's bonded to me, and it will keep me in a state of readiness and cleanliness for as long as it has energy to complete its cycles.
So, I mean, really quick, before we get any further, what does Micho look like at this point, Nick? Is he shaving? Is he fully like bearded? Like, is he like unkempt? Has he ever shaved ever?
Yes, he shaved when he was in the Citadel. But since then he hasn't. So he's pretty. Yeah, but I have a decent growth of beard, but I was cleaned up when I was at Hemingway's. But I still have a beard that's just been trimmed, so it's not as unkempt. I still have my long flowing hair, but it's since been sweated and matted and filthed. I'm obviously partially probably sunburnt. I'm wearing my tactical vest. My guns are exposed. It's the gun show because they're all shiny and red. And my clothes. Well, geez, what was I wearing? I don't know what I had back at Hemingway's. I know I got my bag back from the woman, right? So
so you have your poncho. You and Gloom both had your ponchos.
Right.
One of the things that Batu had encouraged you guys to do was to wrap your feet in these wraps so that as you walked across the sand, you didn't make as much impact with the sand, because he said that would draw the sand sharks to your location. So your legs are wrapped, from about mid calf down with this swath. And you had your poncho on over your armor, and so did Gloom.
Right, and I'm wearing I think just regular old tactical pants. My vibroblade is hanging from my side. My charge pistol is in the holster on the opposite side. I have now. I think I also have. Let's see. In my notes, I still have
the stutter gauntlet.
Yes,
the stutter gauntlet.
Is that what it was called?
Right? Yes.
I didn't know what it was called, but
yes.
those were the stones that glowed when they were near something radioactive.
Oh, those.
Well, I didn't know.
No,
I didn't know if they were radioactive.
Just those.
So what gauntlet?
But you knew that they glowed when they were near certain things. Yes.
Right. When they were near certain things, they glowed. I had that. That was a belt. Correct.
You had it hanging from your belt. Yeah, it was like a little tassel hanging from your belt.
Yeah. So those stones are hanging from my belt.
Of bright lights.
What's that? Say again.
Are you guys still looking at the collection of like nanotech in your hand?
Yes, I'm still looking. Right at this point, I'm
looking still.
Oh, I'm still staring at it. Yes. As I'm looking at it,
it's only about the size of like a shot glass.
Right.
And you can tell, like, as it gets closer to you, it's getting it's losing strength. Is the easiest way to describe it. Like it'll go onto your hand, but as it does so, it's getting weaker.
Oh, okay. I probably wouldn't put those two things together in my brain. That possibly it's me holding this thing that's doing that to it. But I would ask. So I may ask, can I get one of these too?
Certainly, if we find the right place to acquire them.
Wow.
But you have to understand that they don't bond with just anyone. Sometimes they could be quite cranky and they might choose to bond with who they wish. But, however, if we find an abundant source, I mean, anything's possible. I was able to find a set.
Very interesting.
Nick, make a quick intelligence roll with any intelligence bonus you have. Make a d20 roll.
And I'll ask again, too. Is that
9? I have no. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Okay. So you've been. This is fascinating to me. You must be parched. Sure. Would you like some?
I have parched. I would love a glass of tea. Do you mind if I sit with you and enjoy this reprieve?
Sure.
I've been wandering these desert hills for days.
Sure. Sit.
Oh, I thank you so much.
I hand him
I can't
some.
Tell you how much I'm grateful.
I hand him some tea. I hand you some
this
tea.
This is amazing. Thank you.
Who do I? Wait, I'm new. I'm a new.
2 hands.
Just talk to.
Nice.
Just talk to.
Who do
Josh.
I talk to?
Josh
exactly. Thank
you. And then I'll intervene when I need to.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm a bit of a noob here. So all right. So yeah. So we have some tea. Well, let me see. What's my food situation?
Amazing.
So where are you from, stranger?
Back,
I don't know if you heard that.
I'm from east of here. Many leagues now.
What is a league?
I don't really have anywhere to go. Leagues. A unit of measurement. To measure distance.
I think I know.
A kilometer? Mile?
Kilometer, I know.
League?
Okay, how many kilometers in a league?
Kilometers, you know.
I think I know kilometers.
Well, I don't know how many leagues in a kilometer, but several hundred.
Several hundred. Okay. So you're very far away.
It feels as though you're the first people I've encountered in at least 4 days.
Are you familiar with these wastelands?
No, not at all, in fact. I've been hoping to find someone just like yourself, with shade and everything. Wow. I've just been blessed this day.
What brought you out here?
I've nowhere else to go, and I've been wandering, searching for technology that I could use. But it's been a very hard search so far. Sometimes I find good pieces of technology and I can get a good piece of monetary reward for it. And that will help me sustain my lifestyle for a few days, or a few weeks, or a few months. But lately, the pickings have been very slim.
It sounds like we are very much in the same line of work. It's what I used to do before I was captured.
Could be.
Brought out here into the wastelands. I did very much the same thing. But yeah, if you're doing it out here, I look around and there's nothing but sand, right? Red sand?
I'm ready to call it quits, to be quite frank with you. These dunes behind me, I hold no special love for them. But yeah. I would ask you the same. What are you doing out here?
I was brought here not of my own wishes. I was actually imprisoned here. Do I know what direction that is from me, Chris? Where I was imprisoned?
Prison.
Well, to the map that Batu drew you was that you were going to head. Everything that you were looking for was to the west of where you were, and this character who you're talking to has come from the east of where you were. So, from where you are. Sorry.
Okay, so I don't.
When you say prisoner, his eyes light up.
Okay. Yeah, I was imprisoned here in the wasteland. I'm not sure where. There was the name of that. Skelt. Have you been to Skelt?
Skelt. Yeah.
No, but I do know something of being a prisoner.
You as well?
That makes a lot of sense why you would be out here. Freedom of the wastes, in fact, still is freedom, correct?
This is true, yes.
So what are your plans? To sit around in the desert and drink tea? As fabulous as the plan that may be?
No, we I'm planning on leaving this desert and finding a town that I had been to that had nice people, had a good bar with a good bartender. It had a club where women squirted eggs and you could eat them. It was really a special place. It was called Glendale? What was it? Chris, I can't.
Glendale.
It sounds like
Glendale.
It sounds like they had manufacturing capabilities.
I don't know. I mean, they had little structures, buildings. It wasn't as built up as the Citadel. Have you been to the Citadel?
No, this is the first I hear of this place. Tell me, did you see vehicles there?
At Glendale, yes. We even had a vehicle at one point, and we lost it.
And this is where you wish to return?
Yes.
You had a vehicle once.
Yes. It had 6
wheels. This is more technology than I've seen in a month.
Well, we used it to scavenge technology and sell it, same as you. Well, my story is long, and I'm sure you don't want to hear it, but my travels got me in trouble, and I ended up in prison. Chris, what's that noise?
It's my heater, and I put a blanket up. It's not even making a dent, so I'm going to mute while you guys talk.
Okay, yeah, wow, that was loud.
With this fine tea and this fine background ambience, I would love to hear your story.
Oh. Well,
let me tell you guys before you get into the story. Mark
Yes.
says that a league is about 3 miles, and it's about approximately 4.8 kilometers. So.
All right.
So maybe hundreds is a little bit too much.
But you did say many leagues, so I think you said
Maybe
many
around the 100 mark.
leagues. Okay.
Yeah, more than one.
More than one.
Less than.
So,
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark, for that. That's what the chat is for.
exactly.
Yes.
We do have one of the most informative chats, I think, on Twitch.
Yes.
So yeah, no, well, first, what's your name? I am Micho. What is your name?
You may call me Mr. Mallory.
Mr. Mallory. Well,
That
Mr.
is correct.
Mallory, I was a slave since I'm a child. A man taught me to fight my way out. Died for my freedom. I escaped. In that time, I found out where my people were taken. I went to go rescue them. I had them in the very vehicle I told you of, along with a prisoner who we interrogated to help find the location of these slaves, who were my people, and my own mother, in fact. He detonated himself. He was a cyborg, blew up my truck, my friends, my countrymen, my mother. And from there, I was dragged off to a prison here in the wasteland. Oh, wait, but that man, here is his head. And I grabbed the box and I put it in front of Mr. Mallory.
You have his head?
So, Josh, make if you have any kind of tech knowledge roll, any kind of whatever your technical knowledge.
Okay, so I would like to do a knowledge advanced tech.
Okay, make that roll.
Is there a way for me to tell you my total in private? Or should I just let you know what my total is?
Just let us know what the total is. He doesn't have to know what you roll, but...
Total is 31.
Okay, so when you look down at the head, the one thing you immediately know, and we'll get better at this as we move along, because I think we do need like sub channels that we can have private chats like that in.
Jeez,
what? We'll figure that out.
Sub channels? What the?
Right.
There's a little sub channels where we can have, because I can tell you and Josh things that maybe the other person doesn't need to know. So if you have a question, you can ask me.
Like at the same time, though, Chris, for a podcast viewer, it's kind of cool getting all the information on the same channel. I don't know how we could do, I don't know how we could put Pete in a cone of silence here while we discuss stuff.
I mean, technologically, I'm wondering how you do it.
I don't know if that would work either.
Well, just don't split the party then, right? Because that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Well, don't split the party, whatever you do.
You could throw it in
famous last words
in chat, can't you, Chris?
One of the things that you say again, Nick. Sorry.
Yeah, the microphone is far away. You're not hearing me through this one. But no, I was going to say one of the things you could do, because I have OBS up and Skype in the background. Oops, sorry. Skype in the background. So you could always chat your roles to each other in Skype. I'm not going to see it. That's one way.
It's fine. No, it's fine. But you clearly see that he rolled a 31. That's,
Well, I don't see. He said it. That's
you heard it, yeah.
That was a technology roll, right? That's high. Okay.
So one of the things you notice immediately from the head is that it's set on this device that you recognize as a piece of shadow technology that was used during the Shadow Wars for interrogation. So you could literally take the head of somebody and plop it on this thing and interrogate it for a period of time, which is a finite period of time, right? It's not forever, but it could maintain the head, it could pacify it, it could turn off certain different sections of the brain to.
I guess it's like to disable certain centers in the brain to extract information. Like from the last episode, that's how I kind of understood it as well. My main question right now, just looking at it though, how much time does it have left?
Does he say that out loud? Is he wondering this out loud?
No, of course not.
Oh, okay.
No, he's just kind of,
because I would have reacted to that question.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just me taking it in quietly.
The head looks particularly fresh, so you would assume, based on your roll, that it would be at the very beginning of that cycle, which you know to be around 180 days.
Oh, shit.
What happens after that cycle is over?
Well, I mean, as long as the brain is relatively intact, but what they find is towards the end of the cycle, information obtained from the head tends to be less reliable because the chemistry of. So you could literally, there's stories of and documentation of the fact that the skin is literally sloughed off the head and a skull was talking for periods of time. Not having a larynx could be also a problem. So that's where towards the end of that 180-day cycle, you get a lot of rotting, the preservation starts to fall off, and the ability for the head to communicate and the quality of the information drops dramatically after that period of time.
Yeah, yep. Okay. After 180 days. And you're saying it's pretty close to the beginning of that cycle right now.
Looks pretty fresh, yeah. I mean, within maybe, you made a great roll, so I would say it's maybe a week or so old.
Do I know the name of this device?
Oh, now you're going to ask me that. It's called they called it, well, the slang they use in the military was a squawk box, because that's mostly the places where they would use it. In the event that somebody got killed, they would call it a squawk box.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I would know, because of my background, I would know the military slang most likely.
Yeah, that would be what would come to you first as a person with a military background, yes.
And it's cooked up to a power source, I'm guessing?
Or it has its own internal power source. And that's another reason why, you look at it and immediately think with your big brain that, there are possibilities here that maybe things could be extended outside that 180 days, because the power source, you recognize, once again, with your role being what it was, you recognize that the power source is what's the problem there. And if you found a more adequate power source, you could conceivably preserve the head for a longer period of time, maybe twice or 3 times as much based on your technical capabilities.
This is nuts.
So I point at the head.
Yes.
I point at the head and I look at you in the eyes and say, this is the one who wronged you?
Yes. Isn't it sweet?
Oh, man, you have him by the balls, don't you?
Well, more yes, by the neck. But yes.
I can see why you're relaxing here and enjoying this fine tea today.
Yes.
If I had such a thing, I think I would be doing the same.
Yes, I have no idea how it works or really
it's kind of
what it's for.
But it's still kind of a happy ending with all that's happened to you. Now you have this.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I could get out of it other than some enjoyment to watch him suffer for what he did to me. But beyond that, it's just a talking head. You want to play with it, if you're welcome.
Do you know why he did to you what he did to you?
It's...
Would you want to know this? That's what this device, this squawk box, that's what this is for.
This what? What did you call it?
A squawk box. A squawk box. It's an interrogation device.
Oh. Well, that makes...
You have a perfectly fresh head, and you can extract information from it after death. It's using what's left of its electrolytes to power its memory engrams and give you a proper response.
So he's
with
dead?
With this, you can find out everything that happened to your mother. And why.
Is he dead?
Yes, he's dead. I mean, there's no coming back from this. Once you're on a squawk box, the next step over is the meat grinder, right? I mean, I don't know why you keep a souvenir after the squawk boxes, but you put a head in a position like this to extract information. That's why you have him, right?
Oh, I did not know why she gave it to me. But that sounds like a novel idea. Thank you, Mr. Mallory. I'm going to turn around and ask him. So I open up the box and I flick
Happy to be of service.
the red switch that turns it on. If I remember that from last time.
Okay, and he immediately starts.
give him-
screaming.
After he mutes the screaming.
Well, I don't know how to mute
after
the screaming.
He mutes the screaming.
I don't know how to do that though.
I turned off his emotion once. You did it last game. You turned off his screaming emotion.
Oh yes,
I think
yes.
you pressed like one of the buttons. And
yeah, that's right. You're right. I did do that. Okay, so I pressed that button. I'm not sure I would do that though right away. I would laugh a bit first.
When he does that, I give him a primer on how to use this device.
Oh, so I hit the button after I laugh a bit.
He explains to you that you have the access and the ability at the press of a button to cause the head pain. You can mute all of its feelings and just get a pure logical conversation without all the screaming. And you notice that the screaming happens for an instant, almost as if, holy fuck, I'm a head without a body. What does this mean? And then he snaps in and his eyes start flashing around immediately in panic. So do you press the mute emotion button or do you keep it where it is?
No, I keep it where it is, and I'm just going to ask him first. Why did you do what you did? Why did you blow up the truck when we were trying to save those people? I treated you well. I fed you. I might have set you free. Why did you do that?
If you want this hell to stop, Head, you will answer his questions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mallory.
So his eyes shoot down, and he keeps looking down. Keeps looking down at a body that just doesn't exist. And he looks up at you, and he's like, "You treated me well. You left me chained in the truck. You fed me sparingly. And when were you going to kill me? You treated me well. Why wouldn't I try to escape? Why wouldn't I try to use everything that I have to get away?" I get it. I get it that Husk has done a lot of messed up stuff. I know all the messed up stuff he's up to. I know everything, but it doesn't mean that that's about me. I took my arm off. I set the bomb. It exploded so that I could run away, and you can't blame me for that. You would have done the same thing. You would have absolutely done the same thing. And where's my fucking body? Where's my fucking body? What have you done? What did that bitch do to me?
So, I turned the emotion thing off because I don't feel like hearing this crap. Is it a button that turns emotions off? Or pain?
You shut him down, and he just is sitting there now, very, very vacant looking and just very passive looking, and his head is just looking around, and he looks at you.
I whisper kind of in your ear too, like,
yes,
you have a lot of time. You have 180 days before it starts to deteriorate. You have a long time that you can interrogate him to your wishes.
Oh, so this
ask him everything. You can find out what kind of underwear he was wearing when he went.
So
you can find out everything.
So this runs out? This runs out of time? I have a time limit?
Yes. Eventually it'll decay and the head will be no good anymore. Insanity sets in. The responses will be no good. But there's ways to prolong it, but it's not forever. No, it's eventually the power will run out and the head will decay to the point where the information will be no good. And after that, you're just left with a hunk of flesh. You don't really keep it around after. You just throw it out, discard it. The device should still be good, but the subject will have to be replaced.
Ah. So I could put a new head on it.
We could keep it on ice. Presumably.
Huh.
Yes. Right, DM?
Yes. You could, if you could get the base recharged, you could implant a new head on it, yes.
Yeah. So this is a
what an interesting
device for you to hold on to.
Wow.
And it seems to be quite personal to you, so
yes.
Salute on your good fortune.
Yes, the husk he speaks of.
I down my tea.
The husk he speaks of is the one who enslaved me as a child. It would be interesting to know much more of his whereabouts, but I'll turn him off for now. So I turn him off.
Husk.
Yes?
And Husk is the one who put him up to this?
Husk, he's one of Husk's men. I don't know if he put him up to...
Could have only been Husk.
Huh? I'm sorry?
It sounds like it could have only have been Husk.
Do you know of Husk?
No. I'm only curious because this is the most interesting thing I've seen all week.
No, you said it could only have
Really
been
is.
Husk. You said it could only have been Husk. What could only have been Husk? I guess I didn't understand.
Exploding your mother.
Ah.
That is what you're trying to get to the bottom of, right?
Well, yes and no. He was trying to escape. That much is true. And I did have him prisoner. He's correct. I was thinking of letting him go after we saved everyone, because I thought he was just maybe another one of Husk's pawns, as I was. Of course, he didn't know that, and I didn't let him know. And the whole thing unfolded as it did, but I'm not sure of the things if he knows of Husk, if I should just put it behind me or continue onward against him. It's been nothing but heartache and pain and suffering. I don't know. But for now, I have quite a few days to think about it, it sounds like.
Whoever imparted this piece of technology onto you, though, surely wanted you to do something worthwhile with it.
Yes, this is true, and I was not aware of much of what it is capable of, and I thank you for explaining it to me. I can find it hard to not get to the bottom of what Husk is up to, and what I can do to put a stop to his slavery and his slave trade.
So, Josh, do you have anything that would detect somebody sneaking up on you automatically?
Hey, so that's a very good question. Let me get... because that actually might be one of my biggest blind spots. So first, I have a spot check that I can do. Now, I know that spot check might fail. Let me just take a quick look at my equipment.
Okay. I need to throw
you know what's funny?
into Google Drive, too, because I have...
What's funny is I was about to call...
So unless he has...
Hopefully he doesn't do something stupid, which he always does.
So you're starting to...
I was starting to worry about this guy.
Kind of gloom in the back.
He's a little bit of a loose cannon.
So, just to answer your question, unless he's wearing something that would trip off any of my meters. So I got a chemical sniffer, a Geiger counter, a nano detector. Unless he's wearing something that would trip off any of these meters, I have a spot check, and that's it.
All right, give me a spot check. Because we need rolls, because this is a role-playing game. Without rolls, we're not a role-playing game.
Well, I wonder, would his chemical...
14.
Would his chemical meter pick up the poison of his skin?
It's not that kind of poison because it's contact poison, so it's not like aerosolized. So
it's not vaporous.
Chemical sniffer 2 is not like it's not hooked up to detect things on a radius. Maybe the Geiger counter is because radiation is that much more dangerous.
Yeah.
The chemical sniffer is more like a point and click, right? Like I'd have to point at something to get a reading out of it. So
okay. I don't have many.
You guys are both looking at the head,
meters.
And you hear this.
Now you do.
No, a few of us do. Yeah, only Josh. So you guys are staring at the head, and then from behind you, you hear this loud crunch, and you go, and you hear this mouthful of food. Well, I mean, he does know a lot about, Husk's shit that's moving around. And Josh, from behind you, you hear this disembodied well, not disembodied voice, but you hear this voice from behind you that completely snuck up on you.
Ah.
Oh,
this gentleman?
Oh, no, easy. This is my friend Gloom. Relax, easy.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's holding a rifle kind of by the barrel, and it's in the ground, that you can see with a folding stock, and he's got some kind of piece of fruit in another hand, and he's crunching it, and he's very just lackadaisical, very casual about it, like not threatening in any way, just standing behind you guys as you stare. You're both looking at this head that you've jammed in the mat in the sand, and he half extends his hand and then pulls it back awkwardly, and he goes, yeah, hi, nice to meet you. He's very tall and thin. He has dark skin and white hair that's kind of long but shaved on the sides, and he's wearing, like I said, this weird gray and black striped, like almost camouflage poncho.
By the way, not to interrupt, but Mark has showed us how to whisper in the Twitch chat for those secret roles. /W and then whoever you're trying to whisper to. So once again, Mark is
like
point.
the Meister.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark.
This is a friend of yours.
Yes. Yes, he is. I apologize for not saying something sooner, but he was covering me. We don't know who you were or where you're coming from. Okay. So no hard feelings.
Of course.
Okay.
It's only normal. I should have known.
Yeah, I figured you guys are talking. I think he seems like a nice guy from a distance. So he takes another crunch of the piece of fruit.
Yeah. I was gonna call you off, but
it was okay.
Yeah, but like you could give me a heads up before you disappear like that sometimes.
I'm sorry.
How did you disappear?
I'm used to being by myself.
How did you disappear in this red dust over here? Like I was looking for you and I didn't even see you.
It's like my first instinct. I don't even know. It's just like
All right,
run, hide, and then we'll figure it out. So I'll get better. I'm sorry, Micho. I hate to disappoint you. You're you're like my only friend. He's like my only friend. I turned to Chase. He's like my only friend. Like really, seriously.
Well, this is Mr. Mallory.
I'm embarrassing you. Anyways, it's nice to meet you.
This is Mr. Mallory. Mr. Mallory. This is Gloom.
I shake his hand, openly. I don't even hide my intentions. I shake his hand wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Mallory.
Nice to meet you,
Just
Mr.
call me Mallory. That's fine.
Mallory, nice to meet you, Mallory.
Nice to meet you too.
So, what are we doing? Are we kicking the head in the sand? What are we doing here? I feel like I'm missing something.
I was happy just to come across a couple of individuals who had more than swords and laser beams to point at me. This fine gentleman here with his tea and his table and his tent. I mean, honestly, this has been the most fortunate thing I've found all day. But after hearing your story as well, I'm rather intrigued. And honestly, I would really like to know at this point is if it would be permissible for me to come along with you onto your road, your next journey, onto your next step of this journey that you're on. First, I'm kind of lost. I'm not really sure where I should be going next. And I feel like maybe being in numbers would add to our survivability rate out here in the wastes. I know that I have been going from hunt to hunt, make sure I don't turn into someone else's meal. So, having met some agreeable fellows such as yourselves, I think that I would be very, very adequately happy to lend my services to your next endeavor, but more so, at least, just to get to civilized lands.
So, Gloom walks over to Yamicho and he's like, "This guy uses a lot of big words. He seems pretty smart. I don't know. I think he might be good for us. I don't know. What do you think?"
Wait, are we off? Are we still in earshot of him, or?
Well, he's a few.
Or is
feet
this
away,
Gloom just being
Gloom
awkward?
Is talking low. It's just Gloom being on. He's talking. He can kind of hear him, but we're having this now. We're having this awkward aside.
Gloom, he's right here.
Gloom,
he's right here. He's in front of us.
But he seems nice, and he uses big words.
Yes, he does. He speaks. He speaks better than us.
Some tea under a tent in the desert.
He is correct, though.
Yeah.
He's correct, though. There is definitely safety in numbers, and we could use the help if we do have some food, but that's bound to run out shortly, and we will need help hunting, and hunting in numbers is always easier. And he has great knowledge about technology, which we don't really have. I mean, you're a sneaky bastard, and I could break a head or two, but the thing he has this thing. He has these glowing things that clean himself. He seems to know a great deal of.
Huh?
Yes, you did. Yeah, maybe he'll show it to you. Yeah, I don't know what he called it. Did you call it nanotech?
He showed the glowy ball to you. I saw him showing his balls to you.
Yes, it was.
It's nanotechnology. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so that's what that is.
It's called a nanotech grooming kit.
A nanotech grooming kit.
Pull it out, and again, like a shot glass of electrified sparks lights up, kind of in the palm of my hand.
No. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. It looks good. It's pretty. That's very attractive. Yes, it's very nice.
Yeah. Well, anyway, and it cleans him too.
It's not much. It's just, to help keep me clean.
Well, they say cleanliness is next to dogliness, or I forget what the. Anyways, like yeah, yes. No, hey, I agree with him. 123.9%.
Good.
Well,
anyway,
what may I ask was your next destination?
To the bar in Glendale to drink a.
Glendale, where these vehicles you were describing were, correct?
Yes, and spider goat.
It sounds
milk.
Like they have a fair bit of technology there.
They did have they did, sure, and they did have spider goat milk. Did you ever drink spider goat milk?
No, I can't say that I have, and I don't think that would agree with me very well.
He's
lactose intolerant.
You know, Mr. Mallory, that thing in your hand, it is small and it glows. But on the way to Glendale, we were attacked by something very similar, only much larger. What? There's a weird delay.
I was just saying that I would keep it in my pocket. But you mentioned being attacked?
Yes, there was in the woods near Glendale, there was a great cloud. And the cloud was made up of many, many small robots, I guess you would say. And we watched them eat a spider goat right off the top of a hill.
Hearing that, can I do a knowledge advanced?
What?
DM?
Oh. Yeah, go ahead and take your roll.
38.
38.
That sounds like a very combative nanite cloud. Something that you've heard about called the disintegrator cloud that's used to clear brush that is very aggressive at times.
What was it doing apart from... so I'm asking you here, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
What was it doing apart from killing this creature?
Uh-huh.
I mean, did you see it doing anything else?
Yeah, it was wandering seemingly aimlessly until it saw Gloom and I, and then it started to chase us. We ran into a labyrinth of tall rocks which kind of seemed to have
that's not true.
Disoriented.
It killed a bunch of those spider goat things, right? It killed a bunch of those spider goat things.
No, but he said, that's what we said, and he said, other than that, what did it do? It chased us. I know I got bit a little bit. I tried singing at it aimlessly.
Tell you right then and there, I would make sure to stay away from that. That sounds like a very hostile cloud of nanotechnology. I would stay clear of that phenomenon if I were you. It could render a human into waste, a full-grown male into waste in no more than 5 minutes. I would be very careful getting close to a cloud such as that.
Yes. Well.
So you did good by escaping.
Yes. So we need to keep an eye out for that. Should we ever see lush green woods again, that's where it was.
It is a good sign for me that you encountered something like this close to your next destination, only because that tells me that there might be a font, a source, a pool of technology that I could utilize nearby. But of course, I don't want to derail your journey. I'm happy to come along just with you. And maybe perhaps when we get to our destination, we'll part ways.
Well, there's no reason for us to decide
I'm not
now.
really used to these kind of human relationships. So this is something a little bit new to me.
Well, the same for me and the same for Gloom. So you're in proper company in that respect. So don't worry. We're all a bunch of awkward people when it comes to being around other people.
I appreciate that. And I wanted to say that I've been a prisoner myself as well. So I kind of have an understanding of where you're coming from when you were telling me about your escape from this town, this city.
Where were you imprisoned?
What was it called?
Oh,
I was imprisoned where I was born, actually.
Oh.
Skelt, I believe, was the town you had mentioned.
Skelt is where I was imprisoned, yes.
Where I come from. Yes. My prison was much different from the kinds of prison you're used to, perhaps. But no less a prison of the mind and the body. And I was forced to endure things that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemies. But luckily I escaped. And I vowed never to go back there. And that's why I'm out here now, roaming the wastes. The wastes, to me, are a better fate than the prison I left behind. And that's how I justify it. And I feel as though, kindred, though we may be, you might feel the same.
Oh, yes. It is much better to walk out here a free man of our own will than to
yeah.
be
Are we not free?
Yes, my friend. And I take my tea and I toast to him and to freedom.
And to you and your bloody quest of vengeance.
And Gloom kind of holds half of a fruit up and he crunches the last piece of it and then he throws it back over his shoulder into the desert.
So,
okay.
Question is, and I'm like posing this question to everybody. I'm speaking to the room, so to speak. Where direction do we go next? I assume we don't go where he came from.
What's your plan? Do you want to go kill this guy? Like, what's your plan ultimately?
I would find
you want to go kill this guy? Like, hunt him down, take his operation apart?
I would find it quite sweet to see him meet his end, for sure, at some point. And I would like to get on his trail.
To this town.
Mm-hmm. Yes?
And if you return to this town, do you think him or his forces are going to spot you?
They didn't last time I was there.
If you walk into this town that you can go back to,
mm-hmm.
Do you think they'll be able to identify you?
I don't believe so. They didn't last time I was there. But
what
it
do you
is.
think you'll accomplish once you're there?
But wait a minute though. When you crossed over to the cyborg part of town, they recognized you. They know that you're one of the dogs.
Cyborg part of town.
You're one of
Glendale?
his favorite dogs because you.
Glendale or Citadel?
When you guys were looking for gears the first time. No,
that was
in
at the Citadel.
Yes. In Glendale, no.
No, I'm talking about Glendale.
Husk doesn't have a presence really in Glendale. Husk doesn't really have a presence. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So
Glendale's the place where you think you can go to get some rest and relaxation going.
to taste a bit more of the pre-prison life and to see a couple of old friends and to recharge our minds and our bodies and our weapons, and to maybe come up with a plan with once we have clear minds.
What do you plan on doing after that?
Well, it's one step closer to the Citadel. I do have an old boss there that may be wondering where I am, but I'm not sure I even need to speak to him at all. I have to talk to Gloom about that. You pose an interesting question that I haven't really thought much about in this sun, and I point up at the sun and in these sands. It's been more of trying to... I want to see grass again.
I'm very happy to follow. I'm very happy to follow like-minded souls out of this wasteland. But it is... I mean, I have to be smart and still ask where these souls are heading to and why.
Yes.
So well, I think we want to go to Edgewater and get a boat, right? Isn't that what we're going to do? We're going to get a boat from Edgewater, and it seems like it's pretty straightforward. And we just go down the river. We just go right along the edge of the water, and we're right there. That
was the plan?
That's Gloom talking.
Gloom, that was the plan?
Yeah. I thought we were going to Edgewater to catch a boat. Isn't that what Batu said?
Oh, shit, you're right. I'm sorry, the sun.
Yeah. I mean...
I forgot that.
So another thing...
We have a map, too, do we not?
Another thing...
I pull the map out.
We do. We have a map. So Gloom pulls a map out. He kind of lays it down, and you can see where they are, and you can see where Edgewater is, and then it gets a little sketchy after that. But, Nick, one thing, make a spot check for me.
Photographic memory, too. Like, I just take a big mind picture of this map. It's the first map I've seen, so it's coming out of the vault, so to speak. Okay, right. So, like... This is really the first map. I take a photographic memory.
It's hand-drawn, but you take a snapshot of it, and you now have that saved.
Okay.
Okay, so spot.
In my mind, I'm like, wow. Cartography.
18. So 11 plus 7.
Okay.
You said a spot roll, right?
One thing you notice is as Gloom lays out the map, you tore your bling wristband off, and you threw it, in defiance of... I'm not going to be a slave to anybody. I don't know. You went on this whole diatribe in the last episode about that, and you threw it out. But as you notice, as Gloom is putting the map down, he still has that wristband on his wrist.
Okay.
It wasn't like he was like, was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? It's not over now. Yeah, fuck this motherfucker. He didn't go that way. He was very discreetly like, yeah, okay, yeah, fuck that guy, and you tore it off. But you notice he still has it on his wrist. And as he lays the map out and for everybody to look at.
Mr. Mallory.
What's that? I say. And I do a knowledge advanced on his wrist.
Okay. So make a roll.
Oh, good. I was just going to ask you a question about it. That's good.
38.
38. Geez.
So you on this roll, man. I'm going to be getting high on it a lot.
I'm sure, yeah. So you realize that it's a wristband that was used to make purchases, like a point of sale terminal almost, with very personalized information. So you recognize it as something along those lines. You're not 100% sure how they might have used it, but obviously it's some kind of wrist.
How likely is that wristband also restricting social status?
It has access control on it, so you're aware of that.
Permissions, right?
As well as the credit capabilities, as well as some tracking capabilities. Okay. But you realize that it's very...
so it's definitely a tracking tool.
It could be, but...
That was going to be my question, by the way.
Things are set up. Without satellites and things like that, it's very, localized to an area where they have power and conditions like that.
Okay, very understandable. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, yep. Not like he could access a bunch of geosynchronous satellites that they don't exist anymore.
Could it potentially have a working mic on it, though?
It has that capability. You're not 100% sure whether that feature is turned on, but you know that it could be turned on.
So I tell him right away, that thing could be listening to you, right?
Listen, like right now?
Of course. I mean, it has a mic. You know, whoever operates that thing at the source could turn it on and off.
Hello? Hello? He starts talking into it, but it has no lights or any kind of feature, so you notice it looks powerless where it is now.
I knew it. This is why I threw mine to the winds.
Tell him,
that is why I threw mine to the winds.
This could potentially be used to surveil on you if you're not careful of that.
Oh, that's good to know. I wish I knew this like weeks ago. But anyways, thank you.
That possibility.
Okay.
And like I'm not wrong, right? Like in assuming that it could potentially be used to
it has the potential. Yes, it has the potential for those features, and of course, you don't know the details of who might be utilizing it or why it might be utilized. It could be an innocuous thing, but understanding how governments tend to be,
the ability is there for whoever controls the power source, the end system. The possibility is there. Okay, so I just tell him of that.
Okay, but should I take? I have a lot of. I buy stuff, and I'm like. If I put the thing and I buy.
You seem like the kind of person who doesn't really like to be caught.
He's a slave to the wristband.
You're walking around.
He does not know it.
I know. I'm not a slave to the wristband.
You're a slave as long as you wear that.
I can get rid of this.
That is why I tossed mine to the winds. I would rip it off.
Don't peer pressure me because I have a thing and my apartment is here and I.
When you are ready, my friend, I will help you rip it off.
Just later.
Okay.
No, I just don't cut my hand off.
I'm not going to cut your hand off. I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
You said your skin is.
Just be aware of the potential.
I can stop anytime I want. I can.
Is that your name? If that is indeed your name.
Yes.
Just be aware that if you're trying to stay in the shadows, a device that could potentially give away your location is not something you want to be carrying around.
That could be a problem. It also explains some things. I'm thinking.
You see?
That explains something.
You both were wearing these, weren't you, when you were on your last mission, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
Well, don't you think that
he's not,
your enemies would be one step ahead of you if they had access to the frequencies involved with these wristbands?
But those guys couldn't show up and help us out. I mean, there was like 1 million people we were shooting at, and there was like I could have used another people. To help us with these people.
We were supposedly attacking his enemies. The person who owns that bracelet was in support of us. Supposedly,
where you felt ambushed. Was there any point where you felt that you were ambushed?
I felt ambushed. There was an explosion that I told you about. I think that was an ambush.
Yeah, but that wasn't. That was Gears.
That was Gears. That was the guy in the box.
Yeah.
The squawk box.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I'm gonna kick his head across the sand. Can I kick his head?
No.
It sounds like you might be okay for now. But it's good to know what these things are capable of before you walk into potentially hazardous situation wearing one of these things.
So what you're saying, Mr. Mallory, is
if I had the right tools, I could tap into them and find out exactly what your geolocation was and use a computer readout to let me know exactly where you were positioned on the battlefield.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. It makes me want to take it off, but I don't know. I've had this thing on for like a really long time.
With the right tools, I could use these things. I mean, if you're wearing any kind of microchip, it can be hacked. You know that, right?
Yes. I'm trusting. I don't know. I'm not smart about that stuff.
Some people call me paranoid, and that's okay.
No,
paranoid is to go to extremes.
Paranoid is required. I've always been wary of the device.
These things you wear as jewelry, I mean, they're not as.
What about these? And I take
they're not as benign as you think they are.
As you're talking, I say, "What about these?" And I grab the stones that were on my belt that glowed, and I show them to you. Can these track me?
I do an advanced check. Yep. I do an advanced check roll on that.
Okay, make an advanced check roll.
I roll a 1.
So roll again. Roll again, real quick.
I thought you couldn't critical fail on skill checks.
I don't know. Let's see.
I roll a 2.
Well, Jesus.
Well, gee, that was close, but
I wanted to learn
so
about these rocks.
You look at it, and it looks like just a plastic piece of a couple pieces of plastic jewelry. Nothing really jumps out at you. What's your pluses?
I have a plus 20 to advanced tech.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. I mean, if you roll the 20, so what it looks like is but on a critical fail, what do I do? You rolled a 1, but you didn't roll a critical.
The thing is, Chris, you can't roll critical fails on skill checks. Critical fails are for attacks only. You can't critical fail, and you can't critical succeed on skill checks. A skill check, like if I roll a 1, but I have a 20, because it's knowledge over your roll. If I have a plus 20 to my roll for a skill check, it's because I have the knowledge in my brain. I can't fail, like critical fumble a fail like that.
No, and I get the critical fail part, but at the end of the day, you rolled a 1. It's the worst roll you could possibly make. I'm just thinking.
1 plus 20, my score is 21.
I know. So,
you kind of have to give me like that middle information of what's
that's
available.
What I gotta figure out what I want to do. I mean, it looks like a very basic piece of technology that detects one specific thing. It's not super intricate. It's more of like an on or off thing, and it detects some kind of energy, but you're not really 100% sure what kind of energy based on the roll.
I'm waving it. I'm waving it. I'm going. Does it track me? Does it know where I am?
Is it broadcast a signal?
No, nothing that you don't detect any signal being broadcast. No, okay. It's very passive. It's very passive. It's a passive device. You can tell at least that much.
So I tell you, like, it doesn't seem to be actively sending information to anything right now. Like, if it makes you feel better about it, it seems pretty inactive right now.
Oh, good. Do you know what it does? Which I guess
I mean, it's a multimeter of some type. It tracks information, and it's also a credit tracker. You can use it to make purchases, but it also probably keeps a lot of data on the user, such as what are their spending habits, what are the kinds of places they like to shop. Those kinds of things are probably being tracked by this item. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a two-way communication device attached to it. I've seen devices like it, but I don't know if this is outfitted for that. If you've never used it as such, it might not be a two-way device.
Well, we're talking about different things.
At the same time, I wouldn't rule it out.
I was talking about the rocks.
Before taking it apart myself.
No, the rocks on the string.
The rocks.
That's what I was saying.
Okay. Yeah, the 20. So the 21 that I rolled was for the rocks on a string.
Yes.
Right. So I was just waving. I was waving. I'm sorry. So I was waving it at you, going, "Can it track me? Can it track me?" I think you said no. Is that what you said?
That's the response that you were giving me, Chris, when you were telling me that it's not giving off a signal?
Yep.
Okay, well, I tell you, they don't even seem to be giving off a signal of any kind.
Okay,
I'm not sure what they're for, though.
Okay. You don't know what they do. They're a mystery to me, but when I put them near certain things, they glow. But I'll put it back.
They do?
As long as it's not as long as it's not tracking me. I'm very, as you, I'm very paranoid.
Photosensitive?
What does this mean, photosensitive?
Yeah, this is a weird device. I mean, if they react to, if they change light in different environments, they're a bit photosensitive, wouldn't they be? Like,
I don't know
what differently to different.
Well, when did they glow the last time you used them, Micho?
There was when we were in the
cave where we
were in the cave with the
cannibal dwarfs.
The dwarfs, and they had a big metal drum of this weird slime material that I tasted. It was not very good, but they were glowing near that stuff. I kept them because they looked nice.
This one's intriguing. This is not something I'm familiar with.
Okay. Well, I'll keep them.
Josh, make sure you look at the Skype chat real quick. Okay. So Gloom walks over. He pulls in the basket open. He pulls another piece of food out, and he starts crunching it. And he plops on the pillows behind Micho and jams his rifle in the sand butt first.
So, Gloom, how far does it look to Edgewater? Do we have a direction? Because I'm confused. I forgot even where we were going.
Well, according to the map, it's 2 days in that direction, and he points to the opposite of the sun,
which is opposite of where
the
Mr.
sun
Mallory
is to
came
your
from.
right, and he points up. Yeah, he points in the opposite direction and in the complete opposite direction that Mr. Mallory came from.
Okay, good. I was worried that we were heading in the same direction that he came from, which he said he's walking for 100 leagues. Okay. All right, good. All right, so Mr. Mallory, we're heading in that direction, and I point. We're going to Edgewater to get a boat, and from there to Glendale. And from there to the tavern, we'll drink spider goat milk, and maybe go to what was the name of that club?
Z13.
Z13. I knew it was a letter and a number. I should remember Z13. I gotta write to me. Z13.
Who could forget? I mean, it's memorable.
Really. There's no place. I didn't print these sheets out right. They just have gear and abilities.
At the very least, if you're heading for civilization, that's where I'd like to head as well. So, if you don't mind, I would love to tag along.
No, I don't mind.
And Micho, Gloom seems very comfortable. Like he's like lounging, and he doesn't seem like on any kind of high alert around this guy. Like he just feels comfortable around him and around you. So as comfortable as you can feel around Gloom, which is he's a weirdo, but he's lounging on the pillows and crunching fruit and throwing it into the sand.
Yeah, I mean, I should have did like an unskilled sense motive on him, I guess, when he approached or something. But at this point, I mean, he's been so helpful that I don't know. I think Micho's just gonna trust him.
I kind of like. Does Micho have any kind of reservations in his face, the way he looks at me?
You're asking, I guess, me.
That.
Yes.
Nick.
Okay. Yes.
Yep.
Initially, definitely, but as you've been helping us, I've been warming up to you and trusting you. It was right at the point when I was going to call Gloom off. That whole time, I was keeping Gloom in my back pocket, but up until then is when I started to soften, I would say.
Okay. So he doesn't look. You don't look particularly like you would be against me at this stage.
No. I think that what completely won me over is what you said about the bracelet, because it was kind of a conspiracy theory of mine all along, and you kind of like proved me right. So I'm like, see, I mean, it made me like you more. And there's a weird delay.
The delay included there. I've been kind of keeping track with it. That's good though. It helped me answer. One piece of technology though that you're carrying on you that I'm not familiar with is your sword.
Yes. Oh, this I pull it out.
You have a pretty special piece of equipment there.
Well, yes, it does look like a normal sword at first glance, but when I press this button, and I press the button that turns it on, and it starts to vibrate.
Whoa!
Yes. Oh, yeah. Don't worry.
And it looks like I'm only mentioning it because it looks like someone kind of tried to jury rig this thing. If you like, I could try to improve on its power efficiency by removing that and replacing it with components that would that would be more suitable for the model that you're using? I mean, I know it's a vibroblade, but it looks like someone's tried to jury rig the power source there so that it would operate using power cells, which is really highly inefficient.
So what? So what do you mean by jerry rig?
Well, if you want, I can take that vibroblade that you're using, and I can take the jury rig components out and replace it, and basically just fix the original power source.
And this will make the sword better?
It's supposed to be more efficient. It's supposed to be solar operated, but you're not running it on solar cells. You're running it on a cell charge. I can fix that for you if you wish.
I kind of look at you now. I'd like to do a sense motive on him, if I could, unskilled. I guess.
Well, roll a. What's your what? How about I roll the sense motive? I think that's the best way to do it.
And I'm looking at your.
Because now he's asking me for my weapon, so I'm like, all right. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
So what is your? Do you have pluses, Nick?
In what? Not in intelligence. No. I have no. I have no negatives though.
Well, is it intelligence? It's wisdom. It's wisdom, right? Sense motive is a wisdom, or
my only negative is charisma.
Okay. So you have no negative. So it's a straight up d20.
Yes, but I mean it's not a skill I have, so it's unskilled, right? I don't have sense motive.
Yes, I mean you don't sense anything negative coming from him in regards to your. I mean, based on everything else he's done, this seems like something that he would certainly know. I mean, and in the scope of things, you have another weapon, so.
I slowly hand it to him, like kind of looking at him a little sideways. I go, okay, and I give it to him like that.
And I take out a multi-tool, and I kind of flip a couple of screwdrivers out. Whoever tried to do this was terribly incompetent, and I start unscrewing the panel around the battery charge. And I remove the jury rig portion of the battery charge on his vibroblade, and I replace it to factory settings. And I have to do a roll for that, correct?
Sure, yes.
So I'm attempting to return his vibroblade to factory settings.
Okay.
To what it should be utilizing for a power source.
Yep.
Mark, you're correct. All my pluses are in climbing.
Especially after the arena.
I'm a massive climber.
14 plus 10. Craft 14. Electronic 24.
24. Okay, so you very easily bypass the power cells and remove them and return the sword back to its original factory state, which is a solar recharging vibroblade.
And after I do this, I sort of clamp shut the casing around the handle, the pommel, and I hand it back to you. There you go. This thing should recharge by itself now.
Oh, it should do what?
It'll recharge by itself. No need for power cells anymore. Just leave it out in the sun and...
I don't need these anymore, and I hold up the battery. I don't need these anymore?
Well, I mean, don't throw those away. Those are still good battery cells that you might want to use on different pieces of equipment, but you won't need it for this vibroblade anymore.
I look at Gloom. I look at my sword. I smile, and I put a hand on your shoulder. Thank you, friend. And I put the sword back in its thing. It's very good fortune meeting you today. Would you like more tea?
I hate to see a piece of technology. Yes, I would love more tea.
I pour more tea.
And Gloom says, tea for everyone. Tea for everyone.
Yay.
But meanwhile, there's just 3 of you there, so it's awkward.
Yes.
In a tent out in the wasteland. It's perfect.
Yes, what could be better? We've got the world by the balls, So
Okay.
and you know, you noticed that when you took the blade back, it just seemed, you felt it in your hand. It seemed happier. It seemed more content. It seemed more back to its original state, even as you slid it back in the scabbard. And Gloom, like I said, he's lounging on pillows and eating food with
And I
breakfast
wonder
with Anna.
why. I mean, I guess this is, a talk outside of the game here, but I wonder. It makes me wonder why, because not Husk. That wasn't Husk. That was his son.
That was Maggot. It was Maggot.
You would think that he would have a proper vibroblade, but I guess, like, now I'm starting to realize, like, wow, like, this guy is actually more technologically advanced than even my captors. So, yep. All right. Interesting.
Yes. No,
Very
I mean,
interesting.
I mean, clearly he's answered mysteries that you've walked around for a while, but very quickly, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Very enlightening. So,
Okay.
should we maybe eat something, get some rest, and maybe in the moonlight we could head to Edgewater so we don't have to walk in the sun?
I'm very happy with that plan. And in fact, like I said, I've been looking for a group of people I could share some leg of this journey with for some time. With that said, though, I'm going to go take a bathroom break.
Yep.
Yes.
Right?
Go ahead,
So
do
I'll
your
be
thing,
back.
dude.
Cool. Keep the streak going.
We'll keep it going. Yeah, we'll keep it going. Keep going.
No,
Go
I'm
do
just
what you gotta
hanging
do.
around with you guys and sticking close. You can continue doing your thing.
Okay.
And I'm kind of like sticking with Gloom.
Okay. So
Oh, he's doing
Gloomy
actual
dozes
bathroom
for a
break.
few minutes. He's actually going. Yeah, I took a bathroom break while we were on the air with my headphones connected, so I was pretty efficient. But that's a benefit of being in a basement with a deep well. So I just took care of it.
Not a well.
So
I guess it is a well.
yeah.
Don't you get water out of a well?
Some
I don't think
pump.
you put yeah. Or no.
You don't put piss into it. It's a piss well. It's a piss well. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
if I go to sleep,
so
Mark says if I go to
Gloom's kinda
sleep, the
dozing
game
on a
is over.
pillow.
Oh, I guess yeah. I mean, because, like, what do we?
Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, that's what we do.
It's true.
Yeah. Every
go to
time
bed.
Micho sleeps, that's the end. Because the whole thing is just Micho's dream. The whole game is Micho's dream. When he's awake, he's just still a captive of Husk.
Exactly. Star Wars is R2-D2's dream, right? Or something like that.
No, I don't believe that.
I don't believe that.
Are you watching The Mandalorian? Have you watched the latest Mandalorian?
No, but yes. I'm up to season 2.
Yeah, what was the last one you watched?
Oh, how did the last one end? He was on Tatooine.
Who was in it?
Mandalorian was on Tatooine. And
was that the one with the
and they already redid it. They already rehashed a previous episode where he had to kill another monster.
The sand shark.
Yeah, he had to kill another monster.
Yes. Well, yeah, it's a monster of the week show though. That's fine.
I mean, I guess
that's the one with the crate dragon, right? That they had to.
Yeah, they got underneath his belly with the sand people. Tusken Raiders.
It was like half. It was like half a Western and half Jaws.
Yeah, well, it was very Game of Thronesy, with this big intimidating dragon kind of looming over the town. I mean, I thought of made me think of Jaws, Dune, and
Dune definitely,
and the previous and the
channeling Dune.
Yeah, and the previous season where they had to slay what was it? It wasn't a dragon; it was something else. Anyway,
it was when they killed. Yeah, they wanted
killed some other monster.
The pearl from the some other monster. Yeah, the Jawas needed it so that he could do that. Mark says that Jar Jar is a Sith Lord, and I agree. Jar Jar was a Sith Lord. Misa Sith Lord.
Oh my gosh!
You never watched that YouTube video before? Jar Jar is a Sith Lord?
No, that doesn't.
It's pretty interesting.
Okay,
pretty interesting.
I don't want to live in that world.
Pretty interesting. You don't want to live in the world where Jar Jar is a Sith Lord?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I left for 5 minutes. For 30 seconds, you guys are already on the Star Wars stuff.
It's my fault. It's always my fault.
I know you're a big comic book fan, Star Wars fan.
Yes. Yeah. No. It doesn't help that I watched the latest episode of Mandalorian like right before I walked downstairs, so that's like fresh in my mind. But there was an episode where they had a crate dragon, which is like essentially a giant dune sandworm. Or it actually reminded me when I watched it, because it was the same week we did the episode with the sand sharks, and I said, "Oh, he's gonna think I copied this," but actually. I thought of the sand sharks before that because I was reading and I was like, "Oh, these things are really cool," and it's a classic Gamma World thing. Yeah,
sand sharks are totally Gamma World. Yeah,
yes,
huge Gamma World creature.
Yeah, but then, like I said, that episode they had a crate dragon, which was essentially like the sand shark, telekinetically burrowing under the ground and hunting and. Yeah, that was pretty cool, but it was anyways.
These are some Gamma World fans running the Mandalorian show. You know that, right?
I would love that. I always think when I watch things, I'm like, these dudes totally like this is this guy's character in a role playing game. I always think that.
Well, I mean,
I feel like that too. Like I'm a big fan of the post-apocalyptic genre. Watching sort of like The Stand by Stephen King, even the old version. You watch that and you're like, man, Stephen King must have been totally into the Gamma World.
Yeah.
Reading those old supplements back in the day, back in the 80s and stuff like that. Totally. You see the influence all over the place.
Yeah, the Mandalorian is very Gamma World like. It's true. I have a question.
It has a Western aspects too, but go ahead. What's your question, Nick?
So, why is it? I mean, this is again my noobness. I don't know. There's no excuse for this. Where did I get? Okay, here's my notes. And I don't even have it here. Where did I get this gauntlet?
The gauntlet was given to you by Batu.
It was. Oh, Jesus, Murphy.
Yep.
Let me write it down in my gear.
Yeah, that's the crazy kinetic. Like I'm talking out of character here, but that's the crazy kinetic one, right? Where you turn it on and it like shoots invisible pulse beam or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I used it on something.
Yeah,
I used it on something. Sure. I still don't know what to do. But yes, I mean, I have to. Having that. I mean, after I see what he did to the sword, I have to show Mr. Mallory the gauntlet. I mean, is it on me or is it in my bag? I think it's in my bag.
Well, are you?
I'm not wearing it. No.
I was going to ask you, are you wearing the gauntlet?
I should be wearing it. You would think I am, but I'm a little intimidated by it because I'm not sure what the hell it is. Yes, Mark, exactly. This whole thing is turning. This whole thing is turning into Dune. It is like the Dune weapon. When they use the sound waves is what it seemed to act like, but I'm still not sure what it does.
Micho's name is a killing word.
Yes, it's a killing word. I'm going to take it out.
Is a killing word.
Well, the knife came up too. Remember, a long time ago we discussed the knife. So I take it out of my backpack and I go, Mr. Mallory.
The Durasteel knife.
What? No, the knife
the
with
the Durasteel blades.
The knife that's made of the tooth of the worm in Dune. Now I forgot the name of it.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
I tell you right now too, like as if we're going to be D&D partners, anything technological that you want to have kind of identified, run it through me because I have those skills that might at least give us a little basic information on what it is you're using.
Yeah.
But every time we find something new, I put tons of points in those skills to be able to identify stuff just like that.
Right. Okay, so gotcha.
Throw it my way.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe, even without hearing your roll numbers and just from listening to all this, right, and seeing what you did to the sword. I'm feeling like I got, it hits me that, a little bird on my shoulder is like, hey, and the bird's name is Mark, goes, hey, you have a gauntlet in your backpack, So I take the gauntlet out of the backpack and I'm like, hey, what do you think of this, Mr. Mallory? And I show it to you.
Okay, so he pulls this stained gauntlet that kind of, like I said, looks like a hockey goalie glove almost with a pad on the back of it, and it has a few nails and sharp protrusions from it. And he shows it to you. Make your tech roll.
I roll knowledge, advanced technology. I roll a 30.
Okay, so once again, another piece of shadow technology, and one you remember a lot about that era being particularly espionage based and a particularly aggressive era of technology where you had a lot of brutal technology. And this thing was called a stutter gauntlet, and the idea was that it had this capability to it could stun an opponent that's immediately in front of it if it didn't make it a proper save. And you also know that if it could collect all that sound energy, it could also project it after a period or after an interval at an enemy with a long duration between it. So it kind of had this charging capability, and then it would project that same sound. So it could point the gauntlet and shoot sound waves to stun somebody every few rounds, or collect all that and then project it out and do damage at a distance of probably up to 20 or 30 feet.
I relay all of that information to our friend.
And it was also used to it could be used as a shield to like parry things as well. So if you were in melee combat,
like a sonic gauntlet that also shoots sound waves, essentially.
Yeah. And it would do it, like I said, every maybe so many rounds. It could collect enough energy and then pulse it out.
That's kind of like the recharge rate is. It'll burn itself out after a time, and then it recharges by solar, I imagine.
Yeah, this one uses cells. So yeah, cells have to be replaced every so often. Yeah, but
okay.
Can you?
I tell you all of that.
Can you show me how to use it? Do you also show me how to use it? Like what button does what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Wow.
So basically, every 3 rounds,
I put it on now.
So Nick, here's what it does. Nick. Every 3 rounds, you have the capability of stunning an opponent with a cone of sonic energy right in front of you, and they have to make a Constitution or a Fortitude roll. And then every 8 rounds, you can project sound as a weapon.
So that's brutal. That's really good.
And then every 8 rounds you can project sound that does will do 3d6 damage at a distance, but it takes every 8 rounds to recharge that.
You're gonna want to write this down because it's probably going to be a weapon you're going to use more than one.
I want to use it now. All right, I'm gonna.
And like it really goes
it'll also give
to the wielder, right? Whoever wields the weapon is going to be the one who's going to have these abilities.
And a +1 ability to parry too. So if you want to use it to block an attack, you can get a +1 to block with it.
Freaking awesome, dude! That's a wicked weapon.
So gauntlet. I should
stutter gauntlet, right?
Yeah. A stutter gauntlet. Okay.
And we said what?
I'm sorry.
You
gotta help a noob out. Yeah, but now where do I put that? So I have range. What's the range? 30 feet. You said
20 feet. Right?
20?
30 feet. Or is it 20 or 30? We'll say 30. We'll say 30. It depends on what feature you're using, right? The stunning feature, they need to be within maybe 3 or 4 feet of you, right?
Gotcha.
If you want to shoot the sound, that you can do up to 30 feet. So you have 2 features, and I can also send you. We can figure that out, Nick, and I can help you write that out.
I'm just going to write it. I'm going to write it in plain English. Is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to try and use one of these charts. So it's got a stun. And it's got it shoots a sound. Would you say a cone of what?
A cone of sound, right? Once every 4 rounds, and it could stun an opponent. The opponent needs to make a Fortitude check, or be stunned for 1d4 rounds.
Okay, so the regular close-up stun is every how many rounds? I'm sorry, 3,
4 every 4.
4, and then the shooting is every 8.
Every 8, yeah, which is 30 feet away, and it does 3d6 damage.
3d6.
Serious badassery.
3d6.
It's a nasty piece of tech. I mean, and you realize it. It's also, Mallory, it's also incredibly rare. You're like, a lot of this shadow tech stuff is like very, very hard to find.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And he's wearing it on his wrist. I'm kind of showing you off the features, but at the same time, I'm kind of like in awe of it. You can tell as I'm telling you the features, I'm like an audiophile showing you his favorite speaker, like, and it does this, and check this out. If you press this, it'll do this.
Yeah, he's almost excited. He's excited for you, but he's very orgasmic about technology. You get that idea that it's something that it matters to him. Like it's a part of him. You get that idea.
4 rounds to stun, 8 rounds to. That is, and I'm, me. I have like very little appreciation of it, and I mean, I appreciate it for what it does, but I don't appreciate it the same level as you do. So I'm like that dude who's got that, super fancy speaker in his house, but doesn't know or care or give a shit, and like he just keeps his drinks on top of it, and it's got
fantastic guitar. Like it has no idea.
Yeah, it's like all scratched up.
Has no idea how much it costs.
Right, and I have it like I just put it on, and like it's all beat up, and I'm like, okay, cool. And trying to see what else I have. I can show you. I think that's it.
You got like a beautiful 60s Washburn, and like you're like, oh, that old thing.
I do have a charged pistol. I mean, we're sitting in the tent. Like, I feel like I'm putting you to work, Mr. Mallory. I really do. I feel bad about it. But we're sitting here. We're in the sun.
I think we hit on like the two biggest pieces of tech that you had on you.
Okay.
It was the Vibro Blade and this thing on the gauntlet. Those, like, unless you like pull stuff out of your backpack, like those are the obvious ones that I noticed that I could like help relay information on.
Mark,
after that, it's like stuff that's in your pocket.
Okay. So Mark,
and Gloom, like
Pandemic
Gloom
is not on on top of
it?
my Vox. Oh, Gloom has all sorts of crazy stuff. I elbow Gloom. Gloom, show me your stuff.
Great one, yeah.
I'm good. Thank you though, but I'm totally.
I whisper. I like. He's.
I don't
he's
know.
very.
You're fancy. I'm not.
He's very like shy about his weapons. Like he doesn't let anyone look at them. He's. I don't know. He's very weird about them. Don't take it personally.
A weird question I have for Gloom, like, are either of you carrying pulse grenades?
Who?
No, I think we have concussions. I don't even know what we.
Okay, cool.
Just regular concussion grenades.
Unless I see someone walking around with pulse grenades, I would maybe say something then. But unless I see that, then I think the most expensive piece of tech would be your gauntlet. After that, I'd be like everything else.
Mr. Mallory, I do have something here, and I do know the name of it. I don't know what it means, but I do have 3 graviton imploders.
And he opens up a backpack, and you see. I mean, make a tech roll, but I'm sure you're going to recognize him immediately because we also gave you the name.
So the graviton imploders, would that fall under? I know it could probably easily fall under advanced tech, but would that more formally fall under demolitions?
It's definitely a piece of demolitions, yeah.
So like the demolitions check I would use to set it, but the advanced tech I would use to know what the fuck it does, right?
Well, I would give you the option of using whichever one was higher because I think both areas of knowledge would have insight into the piece of technology.
And I'll use advanced tech.
Okay.
25.
Yep. So once again, another piece of shadow tech that uses gravity waves over several thousand feet to just basically level things and just flatten them to the ground on a massive scale. And the fact that they have 3 of them, and they're in really good condition is like very unusual.
Really?
They're for personal use. Like, could they launch wait? Could they launch them from a standing position and use them?
I mean, as far as you could throw it, yes, but they tend to be timer based. I mean, think of it like a seafloor block, but that instead of using an explosion, it's a lot cleaner, right? There's no explosion. There's a finite area, so you can make a really precise demolition move and not impact anything outside of it.
What's the damage threshold and radius?
I would say probably 8,000 feet per charge. and the damage
8,000
threshold
feet.
is massive. I mean, it's if you were to set this, the complete demolition would be total. I mean, it would not only crush it into a very small, maybe several foot wide metal pile, but you could recycle it. You could move it out with a small piece of equipment. I mean, that's basically what it was meant to be.
These 3 pieces of tech could destroy a town.
If I threw all 3, right? He's right. If I threw all 3.
Yeah.
And I don't even know this. I'm holding them like when I was holding the fireworks.
Are they hard to activate? Like, without asking him, like, I'm just looking at the technology. Are they hard to activate? Could you activate them by accident?
No, you couldn't activate it by accident. It has a lot of safeties, especially because of the damaging effect of it.
That's a fucking great question,
so
Mr.
There's
Mallory.
some complexity in the operation of it. So, but you're very familiar with the operational sequence. But there's a number of safeties to ensure that these things wouldn't go off and cause a massive amount of chaos to somebody that were carrying them or when they were being shipped.
I relay all of that to Nick, and I tell him, "Whoa, be careful with that. That's some crazy."
Are you
shadow
serious?
You have there,
Yep.
and I tell him exactly what it is and what's capable of.
Yep.
Now this was Batu as well, Chris.
Too is that like
was that Batu as well?
Batu found this stuff, yeah. And
did he know what it was?
Everything that he had, the stutter gauntlet. I don't think he knew 100%. I mean, he knew the name of it. I don't think he knew how to use it or what it did precisely.
There's a good chance that neither you nor Batu knew how to activate it.
Yeah.
Well, like, you could be carrying around a nuke, but a nuke doesn't detonate by itself. It needs a primer, it needs a charge, it needs a detonator. Unless those 3 things are together, the nuke's just going to sit there. Right? It's the same thing with a lot of these other high-tech weaponry. It's like, unless it's activated. So, like, a lot of these things are foolproof. They're made so that you can't just bump into it and activate it.
But now, am I missing something to set one of these off? Am I missing a piece, or will they go off if provided I follow?
Yeah. Does he have everything he needs to detonate this?
Yeah, they're self-contained because you literally physically set a timer that you determine how long the timer is.
And what was the wield again? The crater size?
8,000
foot radius.
Meters?
Is that radius or diameter?
Yeah, 8,000 foot. Yeah. It's radius. Yeah, it's radius. And essentially what it's doing, think about this. It's almost like creating like a small black hole with massive gravity well, and then it's just used to just like crush something, like crush a building down to a beer can so that like they could take it away. And it's actually not necessarily like a military, although they did use it for military demolitions. It was more of like a consumer thing where they could literally crush a building and then have a thing come and pick it away and scoop it up and take a whole building away. And it's crushed like this big.
I ask you, like, why would Batu, or whoever this Batu guy is, why would Batu give you this massive weapon of destruction?
He knew of my story, and he felt like that I needed to do something about it.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't know if maybe did he not know what these things do. I'm shocked myself.
I've come across wasteland warriors before. I don't give them all nuclear weapons while I'm at it.
Yeah. This is very strange to me as well.
Is there a reason why Batu imparted these weapons upon you?
Other than wishing me luck very strange. I agree. Very strange.
Powerful.
Well, I mean, he did know that we like to break stuff, so I don't know if that weighed. I don't know in his decision. And he takes another crunch of the fruit.
I know that he felt very bad for me when I told him the story, and he thought I needed to go do something about it. But what?
Did he hope perhaps that you would use these weapons against someone?
He gave them to me. I'm assuming for at least for my own protection. I'm assuming that when he gave them to me, he knew that they might be used.
Protection.
I'm assuming he knew they'd be used.
Does Husk have a compound?
But then again, he
Does
gave
Husk have a compound?
A who?
Husk.
Does he have
This
what?
one who killed your mother.
Yes?
A compound.
Yes. One that could easily be flattened by just one of these.
Easily. I mean, you have the power source. I mean, it seems to me, after standing here and listening to you for the better part of the last hour, is what you're missing is a motivation, a will to do what it is you want to do. But you don't seem to have none. Like, almost like you're happy to be rid of this past and to walk away from it finally, and to have it maybe fade off into the distance. Is there something more that you want out of this life?
I do not know the answer to that question. I don't know, my family is gone. It's just me and Gloom now, and we've met you. All I have in this world really is here in the sand with you. I'm happy to be alive and to be free. And I vowed I'll never be a prisoner or a slave again.
Right, too.
So, motivation.
About that same thing, never to be a prisoner.
Yes. And to go to Husk is something that I make no mistake. It is something that I very much want to do. But I've tried a couple of times and it didn't go as planned, and I'm not going to fail again. And so I feel I must...
But you are.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
You are certain about this. However, you do want the head of Husk.
Yes, Husk must pay for what he did, absolutely. And he will. But I must make sure I do it successfully next time. I've had too much failure. Case,
I think you've been given the items now, the opportunity to be able to pull this off. If you really wanted to, I think there is no better way than 3 pounds of this substance.
I absolutely, I know, even this gauntlet was not sure what it did. But now, yes, maybe I have what I need. 8,000 feet is more than enough. If I set off 2 of them to be safe, I would level his entire compound.
You could flatten anyone's compound with this material. I don't know many warlords who have more.
My only issue...
underground size.
My only issue is the Citadel has a whole system of law and structure that I am not yet familiar with. I feel if I go there and set this off and level it, I will just have a whole new set of enemies. And I'm not against having enemies. I have plenty already, but I also...
That's a good thing to think about.
Yeah, I don't want to spend the rest of my life running.
You don't want to make new enemies.
Right. The Citadel is a strange place.
We could use one of these things and blow that refinery up that Bling wanted us to blow up. I mean, one of these things would probably do that, right?
Well, try to think of it 6 steps further. Who would be the most distressed if Husk were to disappear? If Husk were to be eliminated, who would benefit and who would not benefit from that interchange?
Well, Bling would benefit. That's why he wants us to do this.
For sure.
So you would be happier in Bling's pocket. Do you know of anyone who would not benefit if Husk were to disappear? Who would maybe perhaps directly be affected by Huck's disappearance?
It's hard to say. I mean, Husk has 13 kids, and I mean, they would just take over. So we'd have to do a lot more work than just kill Husk.
But your current allies might not be affected.
No, not directly. They would benefit, but not directly. I mean, Husk is a presence in the Citadel. He's one of the three that.
But what protects him? That's my question. If you take out Husk, chances are you're going to make enemies. Who are those enemies? Come to know who those enemies are before you make them, because that way you might be able to make a deal with them before the exchange goes down. They might have similar reasons to want to get rid of Husk as you do, but you will never know unless you understand those enemies or those allies.
Yes,
My
exactly.
advice here is to know who the potential allies and enemies are before you make them.
Yes, I mean, there's guards
Seems
that
like
walk
Mallory
around.
has a pretty tactical mind. I think we need to listen to him. He's got a good scope of this situation.
Yes, absolutely.
Husk, chances are, has allies.
Oh, yes.
Who are Husk's allies?
I am sure he has allies. And I'm sure, I mean, there is a whole center of the Citadel that we know nothing about, that they're guards and sentinels that guard over and trying to keep peace between the mutants, the cyborgs, the humans. And if I just went...
Likely, you have allies in the Citadel that don't want Husk's empire to be blasted away with a nuclear bomb.
The damage to the Citadel alone.
It sounds easy for us. I'm just warning you, it sounds easier for us to walk into a place, set a device off, and destroy Husk. But the reverberations, who knows what apple cart we're turning over by doing this? Do we know who supports Husk? Who are Husk's allies? Do we know these things? Do we know if overturning that apple cart, eliminating Husk, will cause ill effects for us down the line? For you down the line? You might make greater enemies by eliminating Husk if you don't eliminate Husk's supply chain first.
Yes.
Now, Husk seems like an easy target, and you're sitting on a large piece of ammunition that you could easily take him out with. But what will doing that cause to you is the question.
It is much to
That's
think about.
That's a lot to chew on.
It's a lot to chew on, but there are more questions than answers for sure. And this is part of the reason why I don't feel the need to rush into Husk's compound and start anything with him until I understand more. I've been in the dark for the last 10 years of my life. First as a slave, then as a prisoner, then as someone blindly seeking revenge. Actually, then a prisoner. And now I feel I need to know more and be smarter this time around and do it right.
And I agree with this approach. I think that's the best thing we can do is gather as much information as we can about your supposed enemies before you meet them in battle.
I tell you, Mr. Mallory, you are most welcome to come along on this journey. I know it is no reason for you to necessarily want to join us beyond this, and you can make a decision, but I just want you to know that I would very much like to have you as part of our party. And I would also say that you are bound to find much tech, many more things such as this, as we've come across and know many sites where these things reside. And it's far cry from these red sands and this hot sun. And we could go someplace and be free and be somewhat comfortable. And I think we are stronger together with your mind, your technology, his stealth, my strength. I think we could do much.
So I'd like to do a sense motive on him for that.
Okay. Go ahead and make a sense motive roll.
I got a 5.
I mean, he seems sincere. You don't pick up anything either way that makes you feel strongly about it, but he seems very sincere. And I would say that the casualness of the situation, like I said, the comfort of Gloom, who you realize he absolutely had the drop on you at one point. He absolutely could have taken a shot at you, and he didn't. His comfort and Micho's kind of openness, you don't sense anything negative there. You don't sense anything positive, but it's kind of more middle of the road.
Well, I believe that this is more than just happenstance that's brought us together today. And for that reason alone, I would be very happy to hitch my star upon your wagon. As long as you would let me, I would be very happy to lend my knowledge to your cause.
It is done.
So until
Mr.
you decide that...
I say it is done, and
all right,
extend a
shake
hand. Grab each other by the elbows.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as you guys grab each other by the elbows, Gloom jumps up and he puts his hand over the top of you, like between both your hands. So it's like you guys are like a tripod.
Sorry, Gloom.
And he's like,
don't. I wasn't.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I wasn't.
Look,
I wasn't excluding you.
No, I didn't think you were. I
was going to shake your hand. I was going to shake your hand
exciting.
next. Oh, okay. All right. It is. It's very exciting.
I did not expect to find such fine people out in the desert drinking tea.
Yes.
Well, there's more tea.
There's
more desert. And
tea.
There's more.
I'm certainly glad that I have.
All right.
Okay.
And on that note, I think that might be a good stopping point. We're right about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So.
Okay.
So
that's
episode 61. I think it's called
Mr. Mallory.
Mr. Mallory.
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Mallory. Yeah,
shed a lot of light on. I can't believe I have like 3 nukes in my pocket, practically. And I almost didn't show him. I almost didn't show it to him. I'm like, he's like, I'm looking at the tech, and then Mark's like, show him the gauntlet, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I have a graviton imploder. Holy cow! So I know the weapon that I'm going to use to take him down. I just don't know when to use it, but we'll figure that out. That's really.
That sounds like the kind of thing that you're going to really want to time well. For some sort of great climactic finale, you're going to want to have that thing there ready.
Yeah, not to bring up Star Wars, but that's the Death Star blowing up, right?
Yeah, well, that's the exhaust port that leads right to the reactor. Yeah, that you can set off the chain reaction that blows the whole. Which means,
if we're smart about it, you, me, and Gloom can spend a lot of time checking the fuck out of the place, checking the place out, checking out all the contacts, his enemies, his friends, in places ways to get in, ways to get out.
We're gonna need someone with charisma.
What the compound looks like, all that stuff.
I have 0 charisma.
I mean, Gloom, I think. What's Gloom's charisma like?
It's low. I think it's low. It's not high. So that's the awkwardness.
Mark, Mr. Crowley.
Between you guys and me, it's a 9. Either. It's 9. He's not charismatic.
So Mark,
I'm not big on that either. That's we still kind of lacking in that. We don't.
Yeah, we're definitely we need. So if we're the A team. We need face.
We're missing face. We're missing face. Exactly. We're showing our age now. But so Mark, we could do the next recap singing it to Mr. Crowley by Ozzy Osbourne instead of Mr. Mallory. Mr. Mallory.
Mr. Mallory.
It's fucking metal.
Yeah, it is. I can't believe what I'm holding. How I was complaining on how all my stuff was kind of lame. In the meantime, I have 3 graviton imploders that could 16,000 foot diameter times 3. That's a lot of damage.
You've been campaigning now for 2 levels. You have a lot of equipment on you. That's nice. Like, that's the good thing about Gamma World is as you pick up stuff, you're picking up like really good equipment that half the fun about that equipment is learning how to use it.
Yeah.
So
no,
like,
I mean, that's really exciting.
Like black ray guns, you know, and like we might have a hard time figuring out what these fucking ray guns do, but they could do things like disrupt molecular structure in people, you know, like they could be like crazy devastating weapons. We have them in our possession, but we're only figuring out how to use them now because we had someone come along in the party who knows that shit.
Right.
And all of a sudden, holy shit, now you have a black ray gun. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's half the fun of the game, too. In fact, they had rules in the first editions of Gamma World where if you failed those kinds of knowledge checks for equipment, you could potentially die.
Well, that's Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. I can't even tell you how many times we died. Yeah, and we tried to
Gamma
fucking
World first edition, second edition. They had like this whole map thing worked out where you'd follow this technology around while you're trying to figure it out, and if you failed, it could blow up in your face.
I have to pee. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Nick's got to pee. Go pee. Yeah, I know. It's funny, Josh, because you're right. And I remember, like I said, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, we played that and then we died so many times trying to figure out what the fuck the thing was. And the way that my DM described it, it seemed like innocuous, and you pull the pin and it's a fucking concussion grenade, fucking kills you all. You know,
that's the fun of Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. Like the DM there is purposely trying to interpret what technology would look like to a bunch of fantasy fuckers. Right, so you're a bunch of elves and dwarves and cool, we're mages, yay! But you've never seen what a frag grenade looks like. So here's the DM trying to explain to you what a frag grenade looks like, and meanwhile you're a mage who like, this looks like a wand. I pull the pin. What does it do?
Yeah,
I study it closely. What does it do?
Well, it's funny because I gave Micho a lot of good stuff that he didn't even know that he had. And you showed up today and solved like 20 mysteries, like right off the bat. That. Yeah. So.
But I think it's really only because he had a player close by who had those capabilities.
Yep.
And yes, like I knew a little bit about the game, but I really want to play this character. I've been like dying to play this type of character in Gamma World because now I'm very familiar and intimate with the rule set, right? So, like, I'm very happy to play this character. I've seen it play tested with another group. I've seen another group so far right now play test the Nanosmith. And I'm going to be doing the same. But it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a cakewalk. Because there's a lot of math involved with the class that you're getting involved with now that you're starting to learn about. And it's kind of tricky, too. Like, some of this stuff is going to become very easy. Like, I really have good knowledge checks. Like, for sure, when it comes to identifying stuff, that's going to be a no-brainer. But combat, though, it's all going to be him. It's still all going to be him. Because combat, I'm not going to be very useful.
No,
there's going to be kind of a balance there.
No, it's no different. I mean, you have some combat capabilities that are valuable, but I mean, I think it's essentially, and I think that's a piece that Nick should realize is when you're playing D&D, everybody has a role. And so far, he's had the fighter and he's had the thief, but he hasn't had the wizard, right? Or the cleric, right? And exactly. You fill some of those roles in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's how I feel about it too.
We just have to figure out this microphone thing so that way you guys hear me. I think you guys might hear me a little better. And I don't know what we could do about the delay. I don't know if that's fixable or not.
I just wonder what it sounds like, the delay sounds like, because sometimes I feel like I'm talking over you.
Yeah, I've been consciously trying not to. I've been trying to I think I've been stepping on people as well. And I've been trying not to.
Well, I almost think we need to, if somebody has to interject, especially if it's a timing thing, because like I feel some of the comedy of Gloom is very timing based, so I want to get it in there while the timing is right, because otherwise it just seems like very jammed in there. I think we need to, put some hands up and things and kind of work through that stuff, because that way we're not talking over each other. But in the flow is natural. Like I said, I think that's the most important thing is when Josh is talking to you, I want that flow to be natural without me interjecting. But if I feel like I have to say something, I'll put my hand up. Maybe we got to go back to the primary school rules, right? Whoever has the conch gets to speak, and put your hand up, and that way it gives people let's just build a pause in there. So I think it's going to be challenging a little bit in that way.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's any extra.
About that?
I'm sorry.
What do you think about that, Nick? Like, I've kind of there's a part where I feel like there is a delay, but then I'm listening to you both talking right now, and there's zero delay right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if the delay comes and goes, or if it's just an artifact of us watching the wrong screen, because a lot of times I think the delay might be just we're watching the Skype call, the three of us, but we're not watching the output, right? We're not watching what it looks like on Twitch.
Yeah,
on Twitch there might be no delay at all.
I'm gonna put it on right now. Let's see.
Oh, so
when I look at you, Nick, talk on Skype, I don't see any delay whatsoever. Your vocals are crisp.
And I have the reverse. So I'm looking at it I have the streaming software running. So I'm looking at it in the streaming software, and you're pretty much on sync. When I open up Skype, your video and audio is just like, I guess because my resources are going towards, the streaming software. That's probably why. So maybe the delay is only on my end because of all the software I'm running on my on my computer. That's probably what it is.
It could help too for me to keep my VPN turned off. I just realized I had my VPN on the whole time, so that might actually help.
Okay. And I don't know if Chris, I don't know what that Manycams thing is. Is that introducing anything to the call? What's Manycams? You look like you're running an ad. Are they paying us?
He looks like he's frozen. He's not frozen. Okay.
Oh, he's texting somebody.
He drinks, right before closing out the stream, because I have a lot more to drink, fellas. A lot more.
So actually, I think it sounds pretty good on Twitch. I was just listening for a little bit, that whole exchange, and I think it sounds pretty good.
All right.
I mean, I think it's just the being live, the being together. Sorry, God damn it. Being the being together conversating part, but it wasn't bad. I think it's going to take a little bit of discipline so we don't talk over each other, and like I said, I think that flow is so important of like the character interaction. I mean, I think that's the part that I enjoyed the most of the whole thing. And I mean, this episode was almost completely just character exposition, obviously for Mallory. But the interaction was good. And I don't know, Nick, what was so you played your first game with another player, and we talked about this for
better. It's way better.
6 weeks.
No offense. No offense to you, Chris, but I think it's way better.
Yeah. I mean, wait until we get into adventures together. Wait until we get into the shit together. It's gonna be like way more fun now.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty big difference, because you're with somebody else who has a whole different set of skills, who isn't the GM. Right now it was just like everything. I told you when I was playing with just Chris, whenever we was doing something, I wasn't playing the game. I was trying to figure out what he wanted me to do, and that's kind of not fun.
It's a tough place to be in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as much fun as just playing,
Well, and that's the perfect part of Gloom, is that I can have him disappear at any point and not interfere in scenes, because like that was like, as I started to make him, I'm like, this is perfect because he can help Nick, but at the same time I can have him disappear and not be a crutch, right? So he can just, it's a trope or whatever you want to call it, where he can disappear at the most opportune moment, where I can let just you two interact in a very pure way and not interfere with what you guys are doing, and it works, So
yeah, I was thinking a
happy.
lot less. I was just thinking a lot less of the game itself, and I was just playing it. Like I was just trying to. I don't know. It was just different having another person also introduces new skills and opened up my whole inventory to me. Really for the first time. And you guys were discussing things I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
Squawk
the 3.5
box.
like D20 modern system really is like based on those skills, and a lot of like players, I've DM'd a lot this system, and a lot of my players come back to me and say, you're perfect for this system because you know the right balance of how to use these skills and how not to use these skills. But it becomes very skill focused. Like there are groups of people in a group of players that fulfill certain skill criterias. There's the healers, there's the navigators, there's the survivalists, there's the crafters, there's the crunchers, there's the people that do these skills, the people who do those skills. 3.5 and essentially the edition that we're playing with lends itself to that. So your skill set, Nick, is your fighting ability. You have the perfect class to start picking up feat after feat after feat. And all of those feats are like perfect for a fighter type class character. My character, there's no point in me picking up feats. I have all the feats I need already. If I pick up feats now, it's kind of pointless. But my putting points into skills, though, that are going to get used by you, by your friend, by whoever happens to be in our group, knowledge advanced tech, craft mechanical, craft electronic. These things are going to be super useful to us. And having someone, at least one person in the group who can do these things, it's going to broaden your abilities to just do shit in the game. You're going to love it because now you have Spock in your group. Hey, Spock, what's the environmental factor down on this planet? And you'll be able to have Spock come up and say, well, it's an M-class planet. We should be okay. And then you'll be like, all right, let's do it.
Right.
And you'll have that knowledge advantage because you had a player in your group who had that knowledge sector figured out.
Yep, and in a regular D&D game, that's a mage or a wizard or a cleric. Like clerics can do some of that too,
us,
right?
And for us, it's a lot harder to come by. It comes by like combinations of classes that we're basically figuring out right now because we don't know the system very well. So you're figuring that out in the sense that you're becoming a great fighter, a great combatant. You have a great AC. You're going to be hard to hit, and you're going to be a tank. You're going to have full of hit points. I'm going to have the knowledge skills. I'll be able to identify stuff. I'll be able to do computer use, repair checks. Someone else is going to have to fulfill some other criteria. And as long as there's 3 of us or 4 of us trying to fill in these gaps, we're going to be fine. It's when you're like, of course you feel better playing with all of us, because when you're stuck by yourself and all you have is your fighting skills, it's tough in a world like Gamma World where not every solution can be figured out with just fighting skills, right? It's like fighting skills are great, but there's a lot of situations that could be fixed with something else than just brute force.
Yeah, and it becomes monotonous too. It becomes monotonous in terms of just okay, I shoot or I punch, and then okay, you missed. Well, okay, then what do you do now? Okay, I shoot.
That's my weakness.
It's like,
I'm gonna be like, you're gonna be like, hey Josh, fight this guy, and I'm gonna be like, dude, that's not my forte, and we're gonna have to find a balance there because you're gonna be the heavy hitter. And I'm going to try to hit shit, and I'm going to miss all the time. All the fucking time.
Well, even your sense motive. Your sense motive wasn't a great roll. I was waiting for a huge roll, and I'm like, he didn't roll it like a 34.
No, it wasn't good.
Yeah. So, you know what, Nick? Nothing wrong with what you did. I think all of us, when we first role played, like the fighter is the entry point into role playing. That's natural. It's easy, right? To be a wizard in Survive, to be somebody else in Survive is more difficult, right? You have to be crafty. You have to understand the game and the rules to survive in those situations. So being the fighter, it's the entry point into it, right? Once you understand the rules more, you can play the more advanced. I want to be a bard. I want to be a ranger. I want to be a druid. I want to be a whatever, right? Specialty classes too. Right?
I agree with that too, only because like a lot of times all the spell classes or the mage classes or whatever class that allows you to cast something, a lot of the times they have to do with systems that require you to juggle all of your abilities. Whereas fighting, it's like it's not that hard. It's like you have your total, he has a defense total. You have to reach that total when you roll a dice. That's it. Like that's the hardest math that comes to it.
Yeah.
You don't have to juggle probabilities. So those other classes can be good for situations. Most of the time, though, if they're stuck in front of a brute force that's just dealing lots of damage, they're gonna get their asses killed because.
Yep. And there's a ballet to
there's
a ballet to physical combat too, right? It's things that you can do. I mean, I've had great characters that have been dwarvish fighters. We're talking about D&D, of course. And then I've had characters that I've loved that were mages or whatever, and had good times both ways. It's just that's the benefit of when you have a good character, regardless of the class. It's a good experience. If he's fleshed out right and he's a real legitimate person. I think you said it a few times, Nick. Like that would be what I think that guy would do in that situation, right? That's good role playing, right? You know what you want to do, you feel what you want to do, but you know that your character won't do that. So do the other thing, no matter if it's the hard way to go or not, right? He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't kneel to somebody. He wouldn't sneak or whatever. Yeah. Go ahead.
So
Josh.
What's your goal, Nick? Like, are you still trying to get back at the people who blew up that truck? You're gonna go back to them and fuck them up?
Or the people who did that to the truck? But the gears blew up the truck. What do you mean?
I'm kind of like thinking like long term. What's your long term plan?
I don't know. That's something that's new to me too.
Now,
with an RPG, I guess that's something you're supposed to. And then isn't it supposed to be a group thing?
Well,
is there a single player? Like have a. Like if there's 5 people role playing.
My character's more curious to know because he's kind of like watching you guys live out your lives out in the desert, going. Where are they going to next? And if it's something suitable, he's gonna follow, right? My character's gonna follow, obviously, if it's something suitable. He wants to get out of the desert, but at the same time, if he sees you guys start like committing yourselves to some black ops shit in the dark of night, let's go into this guy's compound and sneak around and see what we can find. He's gonna be like, "What the hell are you guys doing? Why are you doing all this?"
Right.
Well,
but if
I
he
think
hears
that's the benefit, though.
Like, reason behind doing all that stuff. Like, this guy wronged me. He killed my mom. I'm gonna get my revenge. Like maybe that's the kind of stuff he needs to hear to know the full context of it.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah. The character may want to know. I mean, that makes sense. Would want to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, or feel the need to do what I'm doing, and why are you asking me to do this? And
yeah. Like if you look like you're going for a suicide mission, my character is going to stop and go, "Okay, why are you doing this?"
Right.
It's important to you.
Right.
Because he's not going to go on a suicide mission with you.
But can I say something too? Can I say something too about this too?
Absolutely.
So this, I don't know. I feel a lot of pressure in this game. Because there's a lot of it seems to be like, okay, Nick, what do you want to do? What are your goals? What are your motivations? What is it? And everyone else could just play along and have fun. And I have to come up with the motivation and the drive and the reason and all this stuff.
That's a really good point. That's a great point.
And I feel like a little bit, I'm being honest now, I'd be a little bit like, all right, well, I got to pick
a... That's an amazing point. That's a really good point to make because you're right. You're right. Like it's not just about you.
Right.
And certainly my character has his own motivation as well.
Okay.
My character is coming out of the desert, though. He's seeing civilization for the first time in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And he's willing to follow just about anyone as long as it means that he doesn't have to wander out through the desert again.
Right.
Now you could tell that like my character has his goals too. Like you could tell like he's got a bit of self-determination as well. But his goals don't seem to be aimed at any one person or thing in particular. And that might be like the biggest difference.
Well, I mean, but realistically,
mine though,
and I don't want you to say too much about your character, Josh, because I think we need to play that out because there's a lot of backstory there. But here's the pressure that you're feeling is that right now Micho is the solo main character of this story. But we've now introduced, and Gloom is there, and Gloom has certain things that he will and won't do, right? You haven't gotten to that point yet to understand that, right? But and now we have Mr. Mallory, and he's a supporting character. But as he becomes more integrated with the story, everyone will feel the pressure and the burden of that, right? But he doesn't know Gloom, he doesn't know the Citadel, he doesn't know any of these places that you know, and people that are listening to that only know. When I read this story, I knew about Micho, and then they brought this new guy in. As the new guy starts to become built into the story, then he just becomes the other guy, right? And there might be instances where Mr. Mallory is going to take the lead in a plot line where we need him to. So it will take that pressure off you. The pressure that you felt was the fact that you were the main character, right? You were the main character of this story. It was your story. Now it's our story.
Right. But I feel like my characters, if we're gonna say what my character's goals and motivation are, you know, if I were writing this guy as a character and he was just gonna be a character, truthfully he would be completely reckless, and he would hunt down Husk and probably die doing so. If I'm going to say who this character would be, but that to me would ruin the game. No. So I feel I
think, but maybe Mallory can temper that with strategy, right? And say that's a noble cause. I think we would all agree that's a noble cause, but let's temper that with strategy so it doesn't have to be a suicide mission, right? Because obviously he ruined your life, and him coming down benefited you. There's a lot of mysteries surrounding that. Who knows where those lead and how those affect everyone here that's are in these three boxes, right? And all of our characters and where that road takes us, right? And we have to evolve along with it. So I mean, I think, you know, look,
that's me.
I know who Gloom is. It's weird because I think about my characters all the time, and it's weird. Maybe that's weird, but like when I'm not doing anything, I'm thinking about not just my character, people in the game and what's happening while you guys are doing this in all these places simultaneously, right? So when you roll in, I know where to drop you guys into these storylines that are going along, right? If you took forever to get to Brookdale, what would it be like when you got there? If you did it in a shorter period of time, what is it like, right? I'm thinking about these things, and you should be thinking about your character too, right? And Micho, and where do you want him to go? Where do you want him to be?
Wait 1 second. I just told you exactly what I've known from step one, from day one, where I wanted him to go. It was to go and find Husk and kill him at any cost. I've always just pulled back because I felt like doing so, like I would just be a reckless. I would have died episode 20. So that's kind of where I'm at. So
yes, that
I know what he would want to do, but I've really have not yet, and maybe that's that. Maybe having another player who maybe is going to, like you said, maybe it's my misunderstanding of role playing is that I have to kind of make it go somewhere. When maybe I really don't. I could just play it and then the guy should be played, and other players jump in and do their thing.
That's not a misunderstanding at all. I think that's exactly you're role playing it the way you ought to be role playing it, and it's to your character's strengths, and mine are supposed to be there to complement yours.
Okay, so then
and gloom too, right? We all temper the things to bring it to the middle, right? Because and you know, you could want things to go a certain way, but that may not be the way that things actually go, right? And I'm here to tell you that the simplest part of the story that I want you guys to tell is the Husk story, which is obviously we should be hurting Husk because Husk hurt you. How we choose to do that and the modes we choose, we'll figure out. But that's the immediate story that should be in front of us.
I want to go to
Brookdale. Nick, you're focused on
I want to go to Brookdale,
too, which is.
I want to see Czars, and I want to get drunk and go to Z13, and then I want to get in a truck and go kill Husk.
Okay. Well,
that's my character's motivation. That's to me is what he would do. He already ripped off his bracelet, and he ripped off all his. I don't know if I'm ruining the game. I hope I'm not. He ripped off his bracelet, and he's just like, I'm not going to be a slave or a prisoner anymore. This guy's going to pay, and either he's going to pay and I'm going to live, or we're both going to die. And that's that, like, because he has nothing. He's so much suicidal.
You can't ruin the game. It's impossible for you to ruin the game. The game is the game, and you know. The interesting thing about it and the way I view the campaign and my ideas about this story and the story after it and the story after that, which I'm layering stories here. So you're going to get tastes of the next story arc and the first story arc.
Unless I die in a suicide mission in the first story arc. But I'll make a new character, you said, right?
Unless you do. But a suicide mission is almost pointless because if you die, what's the point of that? The point is you need to be victorious over him, right? To crush him. What happens after that, you're almost not even considering. But to die fighting him is pointless because you're just another victim of Husk. The point would be to defeat Husk, right? To defeat him, to crush him, to hurt him, to make him suffer in the ways that he made you suffer. That's the way I view your character.
Yeah, that's the way you view him, but that's you say that it would be pointless, but to him it wouldn't be pointless because he doesn't even see that.
To die by Husk's hand?
Well, no, he wouldn't want to die by Husk's hand.
That's not pointless?
No, he would. No,
saying suicide implies you die in the act of what you're doing.
In the act of killing him. I'm a zero pilot. I'm sinking I'm kamikazing myself. You know, I'm a suicide bomber. I'm gonna hug him with C4 strapped to my chest. But I'm not that suicidal. But I'm close to that. Like I think that this character is just like doesn't care anymore.
I love that.
But here's what I would say though. You have through the course of our adventures found potential reasons that you might like to care.
Yes.
Your
Gloom
and your relationship with Gloom and those things are bits
of
hope in this bleak.
Yep.
Exactly.
They're starting to build up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So things evolve and that's a character evolving. And the challenge becomes once you reach that goal, what's next, right? That's my job to keep you challenged and to keep the stories going, right? For the characters. And we're giving a lot away now. And the other piece I'll tell you, just to tip my hand, when you were in Skelt, my idea for the ending of your escape from Skelt was completely different.
Don't tip it too hard. Come on,
I'm not tipping it hard, but I think this is safe to say.
Listeners.
I had a different idea for the way that I thought that was going to go. But as I started to understand your character more, I said, I just can't let this, just so you know, Nick, that the shepherd that I try to be to all the characters and the respect that I have for what everybody does with their characters. I said, I just can't imagine doing that to this guy. And we've also done that thing to him so many times already. Like, I want to do something different where he doesn't have to just be, like I said, a slave who's like sold out of the city or something. I'm like, so just so you know, that's my creative process of like, and even on the fly, I went into that episode saying, this is how it's going to end. Fucking changed my mind halfway through on the fly and had it end the way that it ended because I felt like it was more true to your character, more dramatic, more interesting and intriguing, and all those things. So it's that flexibility and that improv stuff that we're all going to do, right? That Josh is going to do and you're going to do. And if we bring Mark in at some point too, then the four of us will do that together. when we're singing together in harmony, it's fucking beautiful, man. When all the characters fit, like Josh said, like pieces in a puzzle, it's a beautiful thing.
Well,
it really is, and it sings like a fucking choir.
Well, like I think that, like I said, I feel like I worry too much about the game itself, and I should just be, and I just like as I was watching like Josh be his character, and I was like he was just being his character, and it didn't matter, you know, it didn't. The game had nothing to do with who his character was. He was playing his character. And I feel like I don't do that. And so maybe I really just have to start to just play the guy. And if the guy is going to do stupid things. But maybe that's what he needs to do. You know?
Well, I mean, look, I think I told you from the beginning. I think that a lot of people like it because you're a new role player, and we were all there, dude. We all played a fighter. We all did stupid ass shit, and for those of us that have played a lot, like experiencing it again is super cool. Like I've had fun watching you feel your way through this. I think you're way too tough on yourself. I've told you that a million times. Like there's no right or wrong. It's like it's just
in
a
a
story,
podcast.
dude. Go ahead, Josh.
In a podcast, your voice is absolutely needed. You're the one that people who don't play this game are going to identify with. They're not going to identify with me. They're not going to identify with the DM. They're going to identify with you. And sorry for the hiccups.
Josh has hiccups.
Yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah.
It's late into the night. I'm trying really hard to suppress them here because
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Essentially, like you're the one that people are living this experience through. Mm-hmm. So that has a tremendous amount of weight behind it.
Yep. And I think, like I said, that really how many movies have you watched and you said, I can't identify with anybody in this? Like I don't recognize any. I don't know what. We know who Micho is. Well, we don't know who Mallory is, and we're going to find out. And then once we know Mallory will be fully vested, and Mallory will be shouldering some of that burden that you're talking about. And
Micho is the one who are like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen next to Micho? You know,
right?
Like what's going to happen next to Micho? He's the one we're interested in.
Yep.
Right. No, I mean, I get it. I just, like I said, I feel like I've been too back and forth with Micho. Like, you know, putting the past behind him is something that I thought we were supposed to do because it was supposed to be the new adventure, and then my story was over. So I took at that point, I was like, all right, well, then I'll just make like the guy who just wants to just go have a drink, right? But in the meantime, really what the guy would really want to do is, you know, what he did. Here's the thing. Here's when I was my character really the most. When I said, you know, I'm just gonna be my character here. I don't give a fuck. Is when Gears was like that whole moment in that pit, and he took him by the head and he crushed him into the rock, and then he cried and screamed again, and he just did it again, and he just kept going. He just kept going until there was no more. Until he was pulp, because he had. In my mind, Micho snapped it. When that bomb exploded, Micho snapped, and he's not even. And I feel like that's. If I wanted to really play the character, I should be playing a person who is broken, seriously broken. I think that's who he is. Well, so I'll just start doing that and playing him true to character, and you know, and maybe I have to, you know what it is? I have to trust the game more. That's what it is. I have to trust the game. I mean, look, more.
We're gonna have episodes where it'll be about the main story, which, like I said, right now might be about Micho's revenge against Husk, right? Mm-hmm. But then you're gonna get Adventure of the Weeks, right? You know, and you guys you're already very locked in on an Adventure of the Week, which is the Brookdale situation, right? Where there's obviously something there that can be done, right? I think it's painfully apparent. It's completely transparent.
The river? Well, I'll tell you right now.
Anyways,
I don't think he gives a crap about that. Now, does that ruin?
You don't think he cares? Okay.
No.
I
don't think he does. I think I forced that on him because I felt like, well, where do I go? Like I didn't know where the next quest was. Well, and I was like thinking to myself, well, I know we damaged a river. Maybe he feels bad about that. And then that's why I brought it up as a place to go.
So let's see what Brookdale's like. Let's see if we can't change your mind.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe.
My character can't wait to hear about Grace. So I can tell you right now, you guys. I'm sure there's this. Yeah. There's a lot of shit in your past that you guys have not talked about yet that my character would love to know about.
Oh, Grace, yeah,
and there's I'm actually kind of happy that you're not going straight to the Citadel with Mallory because that makes me very nervous right off the bat because he knows way too much, and he goes, I'm gonna give away way too many secrets way too fast if you go right to the Citadel. So
yeah, I'm dying to bring him. I'm dying to bring him to the Citadel because I'm like this guy. We could go. I want to go right back to where those girls disappeared and go, hey, how did they disappear from here? Like, I want to ask him that. I want to ask him about girls who disappear. I want to ask him if he knows these people with the red striped heads. I mean, yeah, I'd love to get him in the Citadel.
There's so many layers of mysteries that, like I said, we haven't cracked. Like you just got a bunch of stuff that you had carrying on you. He opened the door like that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Whole new world opened to you.
I couldn't believe it, man.
But that's the facets of having somebody else with another set of skills. You got a little taste of that with Grace. You got a little taste of that with Frank at times. Like I spackled it in there, but Mallory is a different level just from the roles he's making. You see, he's a different level character when it comes to technology. So that's a good piece. It'll be a challenge for me, which I accept. I'm excited about that challenge of saying, how do I challenge this character who's very good and very skilled at this one facet? That excites me too. So we'll let's see. And like I said, the challenge will be, how do I take, at times we're going to go Micho. I need to start splashing in Mallory and give Mallory some backstory to say, let's meeten this up to make him invested in this world too. So, just to give you guys an idea of what and P.S. Since you sent me your character, Josh, I've been thinking about that. So don't worry, I got ideas.
I know it's not going to be a secret, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, we got good stuff. And I think it's exciting, and I really said I'll be excited if we've done 61 episodes now, which I think it's significant. It's a lot, man.
It is.
It's a lot of content.
I don't want to talk about too much right now live while we're on the air, but you know what my motivations are prior to today.
I'm going to scare you. I'm going to go bah!
Someone should. But like the other thing that we were talking more closely about today about the nano blocks, like that might become my more immediate future motivation too. So
yeah,
and since you know a little bit about that already, like what exactly I face in kind of building this kind of machine. If that were to be like a main motivation for my character, that's gonna it's gonna entail like a lot of adventuring for sure. It's not something I can figure out by myself very easily. It's something that's gonna take a while.
Yeah, I think we'll feel through it. And I'll be honest with you, I was running. I ran like 3 miles today, and I was like thinking, and I was like watching something, and I have this idea of this Grail-like quest that we could do for Mallory. Conceptually, it's really, really big in the nanotech area. Like it's something I want to put out there that could be like an overarching quest for you, like something beyond anything that you've even mentioned to me.
Cool, cool.
Just something I'm playing around with and I'm workshopping. So I'll keep working through it, but I'll start to pepper it in here or there. So that's the thing I'm excited about, is that now that there's 2 of you and you have different skill sets, there's stuff that you're going to see that Nick didn't see. And you're also teaching Nick's character stuff. So he starts to become able to ask more of the right kinds of questions. And I think we'll start to unravel some of these mysteries that I've peppered in from the beginning of this thing that have just kind of sat there, So this is going to be great. And like I said, I know Mark and I have been talking. I want to fit him in. I want to give Mallory some time to to marinate and do some of the stuff that Micho did along the way and develop those connections and connectivities and personality stuff and interactions, I think. And then we'll throw another person in, and I think that'll take this I think it'll take it up another notch, We'll continue to build on it. And I'm excited. I want to get to episode 100. That's where I want to get. I'll feel like we've really accomplished something if we're just doing role playing and we get to episode 100. And we're telling a great story with great characters. So
I would not argue against that. I think that would be pretty freaking awesome too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. So on that note, I think we should wrap things up. Josh has horrible hiccups, which I know how that feels. I don't even want to think about it. I might give myself those if I think about it too much, because those are fucking terrible. The body shaking hiccups. So I don't know. Follow us on Twitter.
We need we don't have a good outro yet. Follow us on Twitter. We have doomsdaydoopy.com. Well, follow us on Twitter for what? We don't tweet anything really. I suck at that.
I'm going to try to tweet. I'm going to encourage people. If we said something funny or remotely humorous, let's just quote it.
Just send highlights
today.
or something.
I said,
I need to cut highlights.
I think that's funny and hashtag DDD, triple D, make Gamma World great again.
Triple D.
I think that's what we're all trying to do. Triple D, make Gamma World great again.
No, Gamma World was that implies Gamma World was shitty at some point.
No, but I think it was great at one point, and then people forgot about it. And we are all followers of believing that we need to bring that back to everybody's attention. It's kind of
politically charged too. Yeah, it's a little politically charged.
Well, I love it. I love that too. I want to be right on the fucking edge of pissing people off. I want them to think maybe we're a Donald Trump post-apocalyptic role-playing game. It's going to be huge.
Huge.
We're going to build a wall. It's going to be huge.
Well, there's no sense in me playing the music now. You got to cut all this out of the podcast.
No, I'm not cutting this out.
You're not cutting this out?
This is gold.
There's one last thing that has to be said before we can cut out the podcast for good.
Oh, yeah.
Josh is right. There is one thing that we do have to say. Who's going to say it? You know what? I want Josh to say it because he's on the show for the first time. He should say it this time. I'm tired of saying it. Somebody else say it.
All right, give me a second. Let me just make sure everything.
No hiccups.
Wait, let me see.
Yeah, I gotta make sure that the hiccups. Hold on.
What's happening, these bitches?
There you go.
That's it.
How does his voice change? I don't know. All right. I think he did something weird.
I did that shit. And that's the human fire effect. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I actually.
He's got something. He's got totally.
You know what? I had the music up
when I'm
so damn loud that we didn't hear that. You guys say it again. Sorry. Go ahead.
I finally got rid of my hiccups, and now you want me to fucking perform like a monkey. Got what I say?
Yes, dance monkey.
Please say it one last time. See you, folks.
The outro forever. Later, guys. All right, good shit.